Hello everyone, this is State of Exile episode 19. AngryAA versus the Alarm Clock, round 2. He won, it seems. Exactly how...
yes.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is currently 5 a.m. where I am. I have work at 8:40, so this is going to be interesting.
How many alarm clocks did you actually set up for this?
I might have set 3.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty
It was
legit,
enough.
man.
There you go.
So, let's start this off. Thanks everybody for tuning in again. We're almost up to episode 20. That means we've been doing this sucker for, 40 weeks. It's been a long time. So thanks for continuing to watch these. We love doing them. And in case you didn't know, next episode we have Chris Wilson, the big dog, coming back. So, today we got AngryAA, and he is here to talk to you about all sorts of good things. The dead time of PoE, and I'm sure he's going to bring up his summoner knowledge. And it's good to have you back, man. I'm really happy you're here.
I'm glad to finally be on the podcast, and thank you for inviting me back after sleeping through my alarm. So yeah, it's really good to be here. Nice to be chatting with you guys.
And just to clarify, we weren't upset at all. You know, this crap happens, and we wanted you back. We wanted to hear what you have to say and share with the community. So hopefully that's helped.
Thanks.
I've done it before too. Don't worry.
He has the first one.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what's everyone been up to right now? Ziggy, what do you got going on?
So it's been 3 weeks since the last show. In that time, I've not been playing much core PoE. Like, I played a little bit on my Beyond character, but mostly I've just been racing. Like, race season 9 kicked off right around the start of right around our last episode, and I've been doing a good mixture of the boss kill races, which I really like the addition of those. The endless ledges, and I think there was the burst races. Yeah, I love the burst races. Every time I'll try and catch them as much as I can. Like 3 fast races, I love it. So I've been doing quite a bit of those. I'm on track to like the 3rd reward or something like that. I mean, I'm no Hellman, but I've been having a good time getting some, top 10s, top 5s here and there. It's been pretty awesome. And other than that though, like, I traveled to the United States of America for the first time ever. I went to BlizzCon, and I also went to Sydney and went to 2K offices to play Evolve as well. So I've been kind of all over the place. I'm still a little bit jet lagged. I'm still kind of on US time zones, but that was like an amazing experience as well. So I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. It's been good. It's been good stuff.
That is legit. So how about you, Angry? What's going on? What are you up to?
Well, kind of interesting actually. I think in pretty much the most quiet parts of the PoE leagues, I've done the most interesting thing, and that is I've set up a budget challenge. So the budget challenge was 20C, baby. That is, I'm allowed to spend 20 chaos on PoE XYZ and nothing more. Everything else is self-farm. And the idea was to make a low-life blood magic Solaris Lorica summoner, right? So I was like, vigorously telling the stream, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna switch to low life blood magic. I'm gonna go into a map. I'm gonna promptly die. I'm gonna be too squishy. I'm just gonna get wrecked, right? Particularly on a low budget, like where you can't buy good CI gear. Like, I just don't see how this is gonna work. But I'm gonna try because hell, what else are we gonna do? And then I made the transition. I had 5.2k ES after having spent 18 chaos. And I'm absolutely trashing maps. I have insane DPS with my minions because I'm running Haste and Hatred on Generosity. I'm running 6 auras, triple purities. I'm actually really freaking tough. And honestly, this is the best summoner spec I've ever made, in my opinion. Great damage, great survivability, and like the biggest gear cap ever. Like, in a 3-month league, you could grind for a Shavs. You could grind for like top tier ES gear. So like, it's got a higher cap as well. So honestly, it's being awesome, man. It's been so much fun playing on a budget again with like no money, every alteration I'm getting, trying to roll flasks that I desperately need, and like I got my first granite and docks, and I was like, yes, a granite flask, yes, right, and like getting that joy again of like not having all the resources at your disposal. So yeah, it's been fantastic actually.
Some of the best things come out of like arbitrary challenges like that. Like you say, you've basically made one of the best specs you've ever made out of like such an arbitrary challenge. You didn't think it would work. That's awesome.
That's definitely really neat.
It's crazy.
So,
crazy how effective it is.
So Pox, what have you been up to, man? I think I've seen you racing here and there. Anything in particular?
that's definitely. I kind of stopped playing PoE a little bit towards like the area we're in now, and I actually picked up racing, which I never really got into. I don't know what it is with me when you bring up that mini map, even if you're doing like a fixed seed, and you can clearly see the way you're supposed to go. Somehow I just deviate to the wrong path to a dead end, and I'm just like, I don't know why I did that, and it's just those little things frustrate me, which is solely on me. The fixed seeds are great and everything. But I kind of, picked up Endless Ledge instead because you can't get lost running a straight line. However, at the start, you still can go the wrong way because you're not paying attention. Sometimes you'll go like the corner or something. But Endless Ledge, I've been racing a lot. I've done Templar. I've gotten a couple #1 Templars, but my most impressive thing for me, at least, for me, it was really cool. Is I got #1 overall on the Endless Ledge. And it's crazy how fast-paced everything is when you're in a racing environment. When, like, a trans orb is like better than a chaos orb, because if you trans a +1 gem, you're just like, well, there we go. That's our weapon to level 30, because like it's crazy, and it's crazy how different all the items come in, and really seeing the difference between spell damage and elemental damage early game. Because I didn't notice that level 15 you can get a scepter with 20% implicit ele damage. And that's 2 scepters now with 40%, and then say you roll spell damage on each. Now that's 40% ele damage with 20% spell damage compared to a wand that rolls like 11 to 15%. And it's a lot of fun in terms of that. So that's pretty much what I've been up to, is just endless ledge racing. It's pretty cool. How about you, Zeno?
Oh man, I kind of made a build. I made a couple, but the most current build I'm playing, it's very hard for me to play even if I have GG gear, 6 link, 3 heralds, and freaking hatred. I'm running an EK Scion in Standard League. They're pretty much the 3 things that are hated the most right now in the game. That was the challenge for myself, and it's a little painful. And I'm not gonna lie, the damage is actually getting there. The problem is, it's just not a very exciting skill, and it's really hard. Like even with Inner Force, buffing the hell out of your 3 heralds. EK and Shockwave Totem being the only real 2 builds you could center around using 3 heralds, and it's just like, it's EK. So
I mean, EK. Sorry, I always thought EK is like slapping things with a limp fish. Just like.
You guys haven't played
hacking
crit
away.
EK. That's the problem. You guys need to play crit EK.
I am crit. That's the thing.
Orgasmic.
I'm using Apex Rage. I'm about to equip a Ming's Heart. Added Chaos, so I have a ton of Chaos damage. I have all 3 Heralds. I have freaking Hatred, a level 3 Empower, and I still feel like I'm throwing toothpicks.
Sounds like you need to learn to play.
I don't think you're doing your crit right, Zeno. Or maybe it's because you're doing Scion, because...
I mean, I'm killing things. It's just really, really just not exciting. It's like,
You gotta run some Reflect maps. It's pretty exciting as a crit EK.
Oh no, Reflect hurts. Reflect wrecks me. Anyways, it's just lackluster at the moment. And then yesterday, someone let me borrow their Mjolnir. I gave it back right after I was done, and I had fun with the Vol's Devotion, Rainbow Discharger, taking advantage of you consume a power charge, you gain an endurance charge while I have a discharge inside of my freaking Mjolnir, and I'm just slamming the ground, having endless cycle of charges between Romira's and Vol's Devotion. It's broken as hell. I mean, it's not the best damage you get on Mjolnir. It's just silly watching this max AoE discharge across the whole screen, different colors. But other than that, I've just been trying to sit back in PoE and realize that not everything has to be about hardcore. Just play the game, have fun in Standard League, do what Standard League does best, and it's for testing ideas. And I've just been rocking that. That's all I really got, though.
Yeah, I like to mix it up with the leagues. I try and alternate between the challenge leagues. Like I might play, unless it looks really boring, I might play the softcore challenge league next season, because I think there's different aspects of the game that you can explore in each that you don't really realize unless you do actually kind of delve into it, head first.
I don't know. I think that there's too many times, there's a lot of the elitist mentality where if you're not playing hardcore, you're worthless. When it's like there's so much to test out in other leagues. There's just sometimes you're just like, you know what? I'm not gonna even focus on hardcore. I just want to sit back and play what 75% of the game's population is playing right now and see what the heck is going on. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, coming as a hardcore player, like pretty much an exclusive hardcore player, just because I just really love hardcore. But I mean, you know, we owe Standard a huge favor because, like, without Standard, Atziri and Uber Atziri would have been almost impossible to theorycraft, right? It was standard players and Standard League that allowed us to get that kind of testing. And honestly, it's where the most science in PoE occurs. I mean, you just have to look at Goodo, all the amazing things he does in Standard. So definitely, there's definitely a temptation, and like when the new leagues do come, to actually pull up and do something crazy, do something new and interesting in Standard League. Because in the end, hardcore is more about doing something that's being tried and tested, that's been effective, because you don't want to freaking die and you don't want to waste your time. Where in Standard, you know, you can go a bit crazy. So it's definitely, I can definitely see the temptation of that.
Absolutely. So I guess our next topic here, what are we going to be talking about? Race Season 9? Oh, man. Well, all those veteran racers here. JK.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about. Well, I mean, I just want to throw out there, bus kill races, really, really interesting. And I think about time, long overdue, in fact, to be added to races.
Agreed.
It's what I thought racing should always be. Shouldn't be about how fast you can grind docks, but about how fast you can progress through the game, you know. And so, capping that at the end by killing a boss, I thought it was really interesting. And I think people theory crafting new and interesting ways to kill these bosses, you know, in record times. This is what racing should be, in my opinion.
My problem with all these races is the whole casual approach where people are like, you know, the objective of killing a boss is not a bad idea. It's the length. 4-hour piety, 5-hour dominus, freaking 2-hour fixed seed. No one wants a fixed seed for 2 hours. Come on. Let's be real.
Okay,
here.
I agree with the fixed seed, but the boss kill races, their lengths is like completely arbitrary. For, you know, it gives people the opportunity to get there and get their first kill, or get really close to getting their first kill, even if they're really inexperienced. And that's what I really like about the boss kill races, is that they have this dual appeal for both the casual players can get in there and get max points if they play well and, you know, practice a little bit. They can get in and get max points. They can get that kill, get that level tier and get those points. And then the competitive players still have a lot of competition because they can compete for getting the fastest boss kill, and they're going to do the race in like less than half the time, like a quarter of the time in some races. So I think that's like awesome that they're so long. But the fixed seed race, man, yeah, not interested.
You say it's arbitrary, but if you think about it, you can have multiple races in a day. And if one of them is consumed by a 5-hour dominus kill, it's like, I'll just skip that one and I'll just do the 3 solo bursts because I could get way more points in 36 minutes than I can doing a 5-hour dominus.
That's true.
That's go ahead, Fox.
I guess now you're comparing it to not everybody races for points, though. That's another thing, is some people race for the incentive of, I want to get better, I want to race, I want to time myself. Like me, I don't care at all for the points. Like, some people love cosmetics and stuff. It's just, if I can't have everything, then I don't want everything. So I just, like, I have my one little blue lightsaber from God knows however long ago it was, and I don't even do anything with it. I just have it just to say I have it. But, like, for me, like I said, I race for the fun and the thrill of competing against my own times. That's what I race for. I'm sure there's other people that do it as well, or they compete with their friends, but not everybody is really there for racing, for the items itself.
What I really want is an elimination race. I would call it a Highlander race, as in the end there can be only one, where you race and every 5 minutes you get matched up with a random other person and you have a PvP duel to the death and you carry on until there's only one person left.
Just like
so, like, you have 5 minutes of farming, right? Yeah, 5 minutes of getting items, and then duel to the death. Carry on farming, duel to the death, and see who's the last guy remaining. Oh, you're wonderful.
Man, I can see the matchmaking system for that being massive drama, though.
I can hear it now.
Like, I got matched up with Hellman. This is BS.
Nerf Bear Trap, Nerf Cold Snap. That's what it would be.
Split Arrow Ranger. Yeah, it's gonna be like Split Arrow Ranger versus Glacial Hammered Templar Permafreeze.
There might be some balance issues, guys.
It's okay. It's for the fun of it.
Angry, you are a genius, honestly. Can I just take the genius off my name and put it on yours?
I really like that idea. Man.
I've always wanted to be a game designer, but I'm sure I'd come up with these ideas, and then like the coders would be like, "You're an idiot. That's way too hard to do, asshole. Get out of here."
You are an ideas machine, though, Angry. Especially just for those of you guys who didn't catch the pre-show, Angry was telling us about his pen and paper, like Dungeons & Dragons style Path of Exile game he's been working on for the past 2 years. So we might be playing that in the future. Crazy.
Will.
He's the first to die. clearly Xenocide with Cast on Death is gonna be like, I run it
Cast on
piety.
Dungeons and Dragons build. Yeah, awesome.
Don't worry, guys, I have this.
And then Meginor just drops. No.
So race season 9, I think overall the complaints are on the length of some of the races. Yeah, like the fixed seed. Honestly, like I think why isn't that fixed seed signature race a fixed seed boss kill race? That would have been like the I feel like the theme of this season for me is the boss kill races. The boss kill races are such an awesome addition. I've heard people don't like them. That blows my mind. I can't even imagine why. But yeah, I feel like a fixed seed signature boss kill race would have been amazing because that would have, set the map layout and people could have worked out the most interesting build strategies and progression strategies to get to and kill the bosses super underleveled. Like, how can I kill this boss 15 levels underleveled? Like, can I get there and do that? Is that possible? Can I do it a level earlier? Can I get that kills like slightly faster if I do that? Or if I go too low level, is it going to slow down? Like, the strategies that would come out of that would be really interesting. And we're already seeing a bit of that, but that would have, a fixed seed race would have promoted that. I have no idea why they went with this really, frankly, boring fixed seed race that they've done. I've not even bothered touching it. But I'm loving all the other races, the Endless Ledge. As Pox said, for me, I think the biggest deal is I enjoy the process of racing. The rewards are not a big deal for me. I like the idea of getting points, even if I'm not getting rewards for them. But I think another complaint people have had is like the reward structure. Not enough mid-tier rewards to aim for. And with the short race season, very difficult to aim for the higher and even current mid-tier rewards. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I just think that they, well, you think about the last fixed seed, it was Descent, and there was some complaints about that as well, but Descent is like one of the best races out there because anybody could get into Descent, and it's just kind of gone away. Maybe can we just lose anything, Famine? These long races and just go back to the 1 hour descents? I really think that's what the biggest problem is this race season. There's just no descents. I would log on just for them. Like Pox said, I didn't care about the points. I just wanted to have fun with a new way to play PoE every time. And rest in peace.
I think that the coolest thing about Descent... Well, actually, can someone refresh my memory? What was the difference between Descent and Descent Champions? I know they removed one of them, right? You guys
Descent
remember?
was just kind of
Descent?
like random zones, basically, whereas Descent Champions was in that dungeon with the specific bosses and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so does Descent still have the uniques or no? No, Descent you just go...
No,
and-
Descent is
Oh,
like
it's
Endless Ledge, but just random.
Okay,
It's
I got you.
Not random. What
got
mobs you get.
That
That's right.
was set, yeah.
That's right, I understand. Okay, I got you now. Sad face.
How many champions? Oh, I remember people complaining bitterly about the lack of champion density. But yeah. I mean, Descent Champions, I think, was a smash hit. I mean, when they removed that, all I heard was people complaining about it because they loved it so much, so...
Yep.
It was awesome.
think-
It was... Go on.
I think they probably removed it to focus on the boss kill races, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with the idea that they cycle out races, even really good ones, because as ZiggyD have said in the past, if people get too much exposure with these pretty short content races, like there's actually not much content in Descent Champions, but because it's very limited, it has quite long enjoyment. Like people can enjoy this for a year because they only get to play a little bit of it every now and then. So rotating them through seasons, and if they come up with this idea, this season we have some boss kills, this season we have some Descent Champions, this season we have this other new mode we came up with. I like that idea, and I think they're trying to start with that. It's just kind of awkward at the moment where they don't really have many races to cycle in and out.
See,
So
I'm
I
okay
think
with that,
that's it as
Ziggy,
well.
but they waited so long for a race season, and then when the race season finally came out, everyone's like, Descent, and then it wasn't there. So, like, if maybe they just had, like, 6 throughout the whole season, it would be, the hype would still be there, like, I can't wait for this Descent. Are you going to do it today? Instead of just, like, last time it was the fixed seed, so it was like, another Descent. I don't know.
I think that they've learned a lot from like the racing seasons, and the next one I think is going to be. I think the next one's going to be a really big deciding factor as to which course they're actually taking in their racing seasons.
What I really hope is more objective-focused races, because these boss kill races are really good. Descent kind of has an objective as well. I love Endless Ledge, and it's not really objective-focused, but I do really love those objective races, and I would like to see them play with that more. Even more different objectives to boss kills. Like, they have those mini objectives in races now. Maybe if they focus on some bigger things that they can go for there. So I'd be interested to see more objective-focused races.
As long as they're
I
not
agree.
so long. Like the
Yeah.
the 1 hour Brutus is like the most exciting one because you could kill him in like 15 minutes, and you're still doing pretty good. What was the record today? Like 10 minutes and change. That's insane. That's a real competition to me. And then, like you said, the casual person could kill him in an hour, no problem. But 5 hours for Dominus? Oh my god.
I think even Mervale is fine for players with not much time to dedicate. Val is maybe pushing a bit, but I have to say, I thought the Piety race would be like way too long to dedicate to a race, and I'm probably not going to do all of them, but I did do one, and it was really, really fun. Like, it was, I played, I think I played Scion, and I kind of went at a pretty casual pace at it, and I managed to get top 5 because obviously there's not many people racing. But just like that pace of the race, I don't know, I really, really enjoyed it. And having that like really set objective, where it's like, all right, we just got to do everything we can to survive and get the Piety and kill her and set ourselves up for that fight. Like everything I was doing was setting up for that, and it was, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm going to come out with another idea here, guys. Oh my god. What they really should do... I just came up with this one. What they really should do is you start off with like a level 24 character that starts in Act 3. And you open a chest and it drops a bunch of alchemy orbs or whatever and white items. And the race starts in Act 3. And it's a Piety kill boss race. So you get to count out Act 1 and Act 2 and it's like, who can run Act 3 the fastest and kill Piety, right? And now you have a Piety boss kill race, but it's no longer like 4 hours, now it's like 1 hour, right? Or 2 hours, or whatever. So the time becomes more manageable, but we're not stuck in this endless loop of always doing Act 1 if we want a short, fast, and interesting race. Like, we're still doing like later parts of the game, but we like jump starting it, right? And I think that could be really cool.
I love the idea of alternate start races for sure. Someone has brought up that idea, but I think they might go with an idea like that. But some people have brought up the idea in the past of having like level 100 races where you start at level 100 or something like that. But they said they never wanted to do that because it removes the challenge of getting that far. Like that's the same reason they didn't want a test league. They didn't want people just to be able to jump on high level characters and test anything they want. It removes too much of the mystery of the game. So I don't think they would go for super high level, but something like Act 3 normal start would be pretty interesting. And it would give people a chance to, like a lot of people are never going to do the Piety race because it's so long, but then they would actually have a go at it if they started in Act 3, I think. Good idea. What were you going to say, Pox?
I was going to say, personally, I really like the idea just because, as you said, it cuts out a lot of the repetitive aspect, which is the reason why I don't do the longer races. But I think that looking from a different side, it might be overwhelming for some people because they're jumping in at level 24 with, I don't know how they would do with 24 skill points to allocate, or you get a template of a build or something. So I think that just to make sure, because there are, a lot of new players in the game, they would have to, I don't know, do something tailoring to show little new players. Because think about your first week playing the game. You're level 24, you open a chest, and a bunch of currency pops up. Like, it's like, what? So that's, but then again, it's optional. They don't have to do it by any means. But I'm just taking it from the opposite approach.
I think that's a really good point, Pox. Like from a game designer perspective, there are problems with my idea, and you just kind of tore it apart in that way. And that I'm sure GGG want to bring new players who like don't know what who don't understand things so well to really be able to engage and enjoy racing, and it's really like that kind of idea becomes a bit prohibitive, for sure. The only way then to continue my idea is they already have level scaling technology. They have the technology to scale, right? So why can't we just have a level 1 Act 3?
Level 1 Act... Oh, I love that idea.
That works.
Oh!
That's good. That's
so different.
That's good, yes. Yep.
Game designing right here. Game designing.
That would be really cool.
It would it would change a lot, like the way we fight different things, because we get to experience this in Endless Ledge, get like mobs that should be in Act 3 appearing in your second zone.
Dischargers, please no.
Yeah, I would love to experience that. That'd be
interesting.
Super rad. Yeah, just like start at Act 3. Why not mirror the entire game? Start at Act 3, go to Act 2, go to Act 1.
I think that would actually be really cool. I think during the game would be ending at Brutus. I think that would be really cool. I don't know. It's just something different. So
ending at
in
Hillock,
the 4th 3-month leagues on Mirror
Final
leagues.
boss Hillock.
I actually remember that. I'm gonna like deviate really fast here. When I used to play Mario Kart and you would beat the game, you would have to replay everything in mirrored.
Oh yeah.
All the races backwards, and it was crazy because it's like so new to you all of a sudden, and it's like what? So I would be down for that. I don't know. I think it's really cool, but I don't expect them to do it. But if they did, I mean that would definitely be one hell of a race to do.
Oh, I got an idea. The worst race idea ever. It's called Endless Solaris Temple, and the objective is to get to the bottom floor.
Solaris
even better. Endless Imperial Gardens.
No.
Please. There's no.
The
Scepter of
porcupines.
God. New
Scepter of
race.
God.
Ascent League. And it's just Scepter of God going up constantly. And more bubble mobs. And more slowing mobs. And more statues as you go up.
Anyways, so I think Ziggy's got something special to tell you all about. So I'm gonna get up and get a beer for this one.
It was a little bit spoiled, but for those of you guys that haven't heard, I do have a special announcement. So I was recently given by someone else another designer unique. Some of you guys know I'm already designing a unique. And since I'm already designing one, I didn't want to just like hog it and design it myself. So I got to talking to Rory and some of the other guys at ZiggyD about how we can make the most of this new designer unique. So for those of you guys who don't know, people in the past bought these Diamond Supporter uniques, Diamond Supporters, and they were given the ability to work with the developers to design and implement a unique item into the game. So I got to talking to Rory and that about it, and we came up with the idea of doing a community-designed unique. So what we're going to do is me and him and some of the other devs are going to work together on getting a bunch of different ideas, like 4 or 5 ideas for each phase. So the first one will be base item type, and then we'll have a community vote. And then the next one will be what is the core unique stat, and then community vote. And there'll be like a bunch of different choices. So there'll probably be like 5 or 6 weeks worth of votes, one each week. And we'll go through a bit of a process talking about some of the different ideas and how we came up with this. It'll be like really open and transparent design process as much as possible. So you guys all get to experience this idea of designing unique that you know obviously not many people actually get to do. And hopefully at the end we'll come up with this thing that's kind of like a co-designed unique between myself, ZiggyD, and the rest of the community. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Can you do me a favor, Ziggy?
Yeah, what's that?
Nix anything that does Cold to Fire, nix anything that does Ignite, nix anything that does Crit Multi. And I'm in.
I don't think that we would probably since me and Rory are coming up with the original ideas that people vote on, we have a little bit of control, and I think we might be avoiding things like that. We're also avoiding weapons won't be on the cards, for example, but we have some other interesting slots, including Flask will be one of the votes that I think people might be interested in seeing, and as well as like I think we're gonna so for the first week we've already talked a bit about the first week what choices we might go with, so you guys can maybe start thinking about it and what uniques you'd like to see. I think the ideas for the first week were Flask, Belt, Amulet, and Gloves. Those might be the 4 votes. And we'll be able to see, because I think there's a lot of different interesting things that can happen in each of those slots. So, I don't know, hopefully you guys are excited as I am about this idea. I love this idea of a community design thing. There was one in Diablo 3 recently where the devs worked with the community and held votes to design an item. The actual item didn't turn out too good, but the process was really interesting, and I think the Path of Exile community is a bit more creative. I think we can come up with something good. I'm looking forward to it.
I can give you an idea that will make the community love you.
Okay.
Ready?
Please.
It's a
Drop
mod
bears.
type.
No, please.
Actually, for once, it has nothing to do with it.
Thank you.
It's just really broken and will not get implemented. But if you put it, people will vote it. Your crits cannot be reflected.
Oh.
Isn't that basically the gloves?
No.
No, that's his ball packs.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah, I guess it could be like the same thing. Never mind, scratch
It's like
my
the same
idea.
effect.
Yeah. 5%
No, I think
chance to
that'd be the
spawn drop
worst.
bear on it.
GGG would never go for that. Man, that'd be a balancing nightmare.
It sounds like an amazing. I think it'd be really cool. People will get really excited about it as well. So I can't imagine the flavor text of such an item. It's gonna be. People are going to be trying to troll as hard as possible. It's just like, come on, we need to come up with a troll that GGG cannot detect. You know, like we can do this, guys. Let's work together. It'll be great though. Yeah, I'd love to join it. Now I know my dream of a summoner item. You know, it's going to get voted out, but I'll still be there voting away.
Summoner's not popular enough.
Give zombies too.
I'm really interested to see what people want, whether they go for something that's got broader appeal or something that's niche but really interesting. I'm very curious to see what comes out of this. But it's going to be nice to look back and see that this item, you know, just came out of this kind of like whole community designed thing. So I'm eager. So when that will be happening, we'll be doing the first vote a little bit later on this week. So keep your eyes peeled on both my YouTube channel. I'll put some stuff up, and also the GGG Wayne website. They should put a vote up for me. So
legit as hell.
keep your eyes peeled.
It's going to be done on the GGG website, not Reddit at all.
Yeah, they said they have polling tools, so they can do a poll for me. each week, and we'll try and hopefully we can get it like 5 or 6 weeks worth of voting, and then one more week, and then it'll be implemented. So it could be a really short, unique design process compared to other ones. Because for those of you guys who don't know, designing unique, I've been designing mine for many months now, and some people have been going for even longer. It takes a long time to get a unique implemented. So this could be really fast though if we work really hard on it.
To see how the progression of the item develops. Like, actually, one quick question. I don't know if you know the answer to it or not, but when you're revealing your options for the people to look at to select from, do they know the other options of the other tier, like of the other stats that are available? Does that make sense? So like they can only see 5 stats at a time, right? And that's it. So they don't know what else is on the ring at all.
No, they'll show what's currently been voted, I would assume. Otherwise, it would just be a nightmare.
Yeah.
It'd be a terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be doing it step by step. So the
Okay.
steps will roughly be base item selection, core unique idea. So every unique has like one thing that's kind of its
I
core.
got you. Yeah.
And then like additional mods, and then it'll be like art, and then flavor text and name and things like that.
I
So
wasn't
it'll be a
thinking.
different step for each one.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that the core would go first. For some reason, I thought it would go last. I have absolutely no clue why.
Yeah, and obviously the follow-on
Right,
design
right.
for the next week will be based on the previous selection. Like if we design a flask, we're then going to go and design 4 unique mods for flasks.
That would be a facepalm for me.
My vote is for an occultist mantle, just so that we have troll mantle, shabs, and something in between.
Please.
Wonderful. And make it look almost exactly like chevrons.
I would like
That's
a
perfect.
unique that's based off of armor and it doesn't suck and it's not lightning coil. Like some.
Yeah, me and Rory talked about doing a chest. I kind of was like, can we like increase chest diversity with this or something? But I think their mindset at ZiggyD at the moment is that they really just want to lay off chests for a while and let something happen there, and then.
I'm just saying something that makes
again
armor
in the
not
future.
suck. Like some sort of mechanic that helps armor out. But maybe.
Well,
They should add that to the base
Get
game.
voting.
not to-
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Get voting, man.
I mean, there's so many like uniques out there, like jewelry that could do so much for your build. I mean, as much hate as Pyre gets, it's something unique. Or like Vol's Devotion, where it's centered around power and endurance charges, things like that. I love those type of uniques that where you can make so many cool builds out of it. Well, not so many cool, some certain cool builds out of it, but they don't break the game at all. Those are the uniques that I really, really like.
I want a unique where for every albino row feather you have in your inventory, you get a bonus.
Oh god, charms. It's charms all over again.
It's just 1%
Yes.
I.
It would be
1%
terrible, but it would be
IR.
amazing.
It's 1% increased fishing or feather drop rate or something like that.
Honestly,
Oh man.
no albino row of feathers. I'm pretty sure Rich J Money would win. He has so many.
Is it really?
Yes, he buys them for like
You
exalted.
sure it's not just a stream overlay? He likes to troll with those.
No, it's legit. He's balling off of like 3 of my viewers now. Someone be like, I just
Okay.
found an albino row of it, and he just appears as like 3 exalts. And I'm
He's
like,
stocking
okay.
them up for something. Just to flaunt his Rich J Money cash. So much swag. Okay, alright, moving on. We have the next topic for the podcast is the dead time of Path of Exile, the end of the leagues, the good versus bad of these things. So, I guess we're going to just go around in a circle here, starting with Angry Idea Man. How do you feel about the dead times of PoE?
Well, it's a very interesting question, right? And
It was your question. You came up with this idea, so that's complimenting
true.
yourself there.
I do, I do. Well, I think it's something on the forefront of everybody's mind right now. The dead
Right
time
now,
of
yeah,
PoE.
especially.
Everybody's thinking about it because like lots of people are like, I'm playing Clicker Heroes, or something else. They're not playing PoE because, and like when I go into Beyond League, for the life of me, I couldn't buy a Vol Discipline because no one's online. The economy is dead. And I'm in 2 minds about this. Okay, at one point, I think that the time in PoE is important and good because what it does is it gives us the time to rest and relax and meditate and try out different games and recharge our batteries, right? Because like I think it's pretty much the same for most people. When a new league comes out, we are going at it like in all our spare time. We're going absolutely crazy, and you can't maintain that pace forever, right? So like the fact that we have this dead time. And that it's perfectly okay for PoE's kind of attendance to go up in waves like this, right? Where you have this frenetic activity and then you go down to kind of a break time and then go back into the game. And people freak out and they're always like, oh my god, it's a dead game. But like in the reality, people just take a break and then they all come back. That being said, I would argue that the 3-month league was a failure as an experiment. Because I feel that when it was a 4-month league, everyone played for 3 months. And that was cool. And now that it's a 3-month league, everyone played for 2 months. And I think that's worse. I know the hope of GGG was that people would play for 3 months. But in the end, it seems like people like playing for X minus 1 month. And particularly when it comes to numbers 3 and 4. So I don't know. I would argue that they should go back to 4 months because I feel like the leagues don't feel long enough as a 2-month league, basically. And yeah, kind of sucks.
Do you think people really played for 3 months? I don't know. I feel like there was a similar drop-off at the 2-month point in the 4-month league, so maybe not as dramatic, but I feel like it still was there.
I'm going to agree with you slightly on this, AngryAA. I think that these 3 months were failures because it just was, you could tell that they admitted that Rampage and Beyond was rushed. I think that if you give a good product, a much better product, more people will stay because the general consensus I got is people who were playing Rampage quit much earlier, and people who are playing Beyond, they started quitting more so about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You really noticed the big drop off, and I just think they need to really put out. If the league is solid, people will stay. That's the thing. More so than they normally do. You think about like Nemesis. There was a lot of people playing that for a very long time because it was a league that a lot of people liked. I don't know. That's just my approach. I think the 3-month is fine. I just think that Beyond got old quick in people's minds.
Yeah, I think they need to find a very creative way to maintain interest in the last month of the leagues. So, be it you get new content that happens in the leagues in the final month, like maybe like new bosses that spawn that drop league-only items that won't drop in the permanent league. So everyone comes back and they're like, hey, I really want to get these like exclusive league-only items before the league ends. So like everyone comes back on and plays like something like a little quick burst of rejuvenation in the last month, just to get people to come back and sort of try things out. I think would be really nice because this whole like furious activity and then death in the final month kind of sucks. Like I want the death to be at the end of the league, not like
at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know what they can come up with to do that, but like it's something if I was GGG, that's what I'd be racking my brains about. Is like, how can we get people to stay in for the final month? And I think their experiment was the 3-month leagues, and I think that hasn't worked out right. So they need to come up with something else.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I wonder if once we see it in the perspective of having both 3-month leagues, though, whether it won't look as bad because it will be like shorter downtime overall, and then broken up by the two peaks. So
yeah, sure.
I think that perspective might change once we do the next 3-month league.
Yeah, no, it could, and there's something to be said for having more leagues because 3 months we just get to do more leagues. I think for most people the best time is the first month of a new league, right? So. I mean, for sure, it could just be better to have, a series of 3 months because then we get to the juicy part every time more often.
This is true. Well, I have a feeling this time around it's going to be much better. Not that the last 3 months were bad. I think Beyond is actually my second favorite hardcore league. I just think that, like they said, everything was rushed. And now that the Forsaken Master Balance is already done, the 3-month league is going out. They've had the past 3 months to work on the new 3-month league, as well as the next mini expansion. I have a feeling that this is going to be the big hype. Now, obviously, if it's not, there's going to be a lot of disappointment, like always. I'm not saying that GGG always brings disappointment, but people feel entitled when they play a free-to-play game for some reason. But I have a feeling that this is the league. The way that they're not releasing anything, they're keeping it real quiet. Like they're not purposely trying to keep you interested. Like they're just going to drop this bomb on you. I don't know. And I'm hoping Chris comes in 2 weeks from now. He's like, here it is. Boom. Like, I'm just pumped.
A State of Exile announcement.
Oh, man, I love when he does that. He's really good at those.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
I kind of want to emphasize on what Angry said about how the importance of the last month of a 3-month or even a 4-month league is very important. Because when he was talking about how it, they already have league-only uniques, but adding in new league-only uniques specifically towards the last month, I think is a really cool idea. But not something that's hard to obtain. Just something that in general, that it's look at that. I want to be the guy that collects these cool uniques. That attracts players. Or then it's I want to make a build around this unique that attracts players. or oh, maybe I can play this league now that there's a unique, specific only to this one. I want to play that league, and I think that's a really cool idea. Actually, it doesn't have to be that, but just more or less an importance of something new the last month, because as you said, the first month is like everyone's racing. Usually anywhere from 3 weeks to maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Someone's probably going to hit 100, depending on the league properties. So that covers usually like the first month, and then like the next 15 to 30 days is like you have all your currency or so. Now you're going to make these crazy builds, and then let's face it, that character is going to somehow die to something. And then you have the last month. Like what's there to do in the last month? And I think that's a really good idea. Is just adding something new towards the last month.
I do like the idea of like having game events and added content throughout the life cycle of the league. Sorry for interrupting, Angry. I'm going to take devil's advocate a little bit here though, because I think that we're talking more about keeping interest in the game overall over the course of these like challenge leagues. Like the challenge leagues themselves is what keep interest in the game. Like that's what keeps the interest in the league, game bouncing around. I think like races, what keep that sort of in that downtime towards the end of the league as it starts to settle down. I think races are what keeps people sort of casually interested in the game. So I know races aren't necessarily casual, but it's something you go on and like, you're not really playing much PoE, but I'm going to jump on and do, these 2 races this day. That's like kind of what gets you in there, but it's not too exhausting. And I actually think the downtime in PoE is really good and to the benefit of the game. I don't know, it's from the perspective of how I play, I guess, as well, but I feel like a lot of us, people who play Path of Exile a lot and who will keep coming back to the game over the course of the next few years is because of the way this is designed, that it's really exciting to get in and go really hard at the start of a new league, for the first month of a new league, for the 1 week race, for this new event, this new content, and then having that time to recharge and take a break and then just kind of more casually check out the races, play some other games, come back and go really hard again. I know if there was something really keeping me going all the time, I probably would never go as hard as I do at the start of a new league. Like it would always just be an even point. Like you wouldn't really have that big excitement at the start of the new leagues again. So I think the downtime is really good.
Yeah, I agree. I was playing Minecraft and I had a couple of people come in my stream and they're like, "Why are you playing this casual game?" I'm like, because right now, if I'm not playing this casual game when the new leagues come out, you won't see me streaming PoE. Like, I need that break. Like, it's very important to have. I mean, how many people... Like, I play PoE longer than most streamers out there. Like, I'm always playing. I mean, I'm pretty much like... I don't know. I always play the damn game, and I feel like it's very important to take a week or 2 off from the game so that when you come back, you're revitalized. Or in your case, you guys take months. A month off, 2 months off. I mean, hell, Fox. You play, like... the first 2, and then the last 2 you're like deuces.
Yep.
And it's very important to recharge for sure.
Yep. I definitely agree with what you're saying. There's just, I think, a balance, like I said, or like everyone was saying, is in need. Like the event or so, it doesn't have to be the full month. It could just be like a short thing, as Angry said previously, like a little rejuvenation period where it gets you in. Because regardless of that, like regardless of anything that happens there, there's still going to be the dead time for a week or 2 in between everything, where we only have hardcore and standard. But on to you, Angry.
Well, like, this is what I would have done, because I think the dead time between leagues is great. For like as Ziggy and all you guys are saying, the rejuvenation time, that's important. But I think dead times during leagues is terrible, right? Because like during the freaking league, it should be fun and exciting. I would have done something like this for Beyond, right? What I would have done is you don't even mention a Backsoth. Right? You don't even mention him. No one even knows anything about him. And then, last month of the league, you're like, by the way, guys, there's an ultimate Beyond demon boss spawn. His name is Backsoth, the end of all things, right? You hype up this motherfucker. Then you go, now, you need to figure out how to summon him, right? Then you have tier 3 Beyond demons start dropping fragments, right? And then maybe you have map fragments that drop incorrupted maps or something, right? And you piece together these maps that open this new map, right? This single new map, and then you take these corrupted things, you go and then you summon a Backsoth, and a Backsoth is like Aziri on steroids or whatever, and then you have a Backsoth drop a league-only unique that's on the same power level as like Molnar, and then people are like, holy crap, like this is cool. You got people that are like helping their friends out by grinding these Beyond Demons to get the fragments just because they want to watch they want to watch Etup get the first kill. People are excited, they're interested in the league, and this interest we'll get people playing, you know. And, yeah. It's my-
I really like that idea, and it makes me think a little bit deeper about this. At the moment, we're saying we don't want any downtime between leagues. We were talking about this in the pre-show. We don't want downtime between leagues. We want a couple days, then a 1 week race, then a couple days, then new leagues. We don't want that downtime because we already have the downtime in the leagues. But maybe, to kind of contradict myself a little bit earlier here, what if the downtime was in between the leagues? We had this kind of relaxed couple weeks between leagues, and then the actual Challenge League itself is kept invigorated by an idea like Angry's, which I think is an awesome idea, man. He's such an ideas machine. But to having like that, and then having the downtime between leagues, so you're like, all right, I'm taking a break now because there's no Challenge League. I know that it's just if I want to get in and do some casual racing and stuff like that, then that's good. Now I have to say again, because a few people like having people not play your game for 40-50% of the time is a bad idea. I don't mean by dead time. I don't mean not playing the game. By dead time, I mean not going super hard at the game. I think it's very important that the game always be in people's mind, and you're always getting something to get people back and play a little bit. And that's why I was talking about races. Races keep Path of Exile in my mind, even when I'm not playing the Challenge Leagues, because I know that I'm going to jump in and play some of the fun races every now and then. The name Path of Exile is still in my mind. I'm not going to forget about the game for when the next content comes around. I'm going to be reading the news when that happens. I think that's quite important.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm jumping on the AngryAA bandwagon. That is like one of the best ideas I've heard. Because usually it's just a steady downfall. Now it's like a little bit of a downfall, and then boom, right back up, and then down for the dead time.
Especially if it's a secret, they announce it like that. That's like so GGG. It would be perfect.
Well, and if you think about it, they try to do that kind of with SOTV. You know, like, oh, it's becoming more corrupted as time goes. Well, maybe as it's becoming more corrupted, boom, it's Iri, instead of just here's its Iri at the gate kind of thing.
Yeah. The corruption progresses.
Yeah.
I think the strength of the idea from a game development perspective is they do have 2 months to work on it, right? Like if you're trying to come up with an idea to revitalize the last month, you can literally release the league and not even know what that's going to be, and then work on it for 2 months. Right?
Yeah.
And
totally.
like we know how fast GGG work. They can come up with something in 2 months and implement it, right? Like they're fully capable of doing that. So that's why, like, you know, because I know, you know, they're very, very busy and they're working on Act 4 and stuff, but I still think it should be possible.
These ideas,
man, that's such a good idea. GGG. You better be watching this episode.
They
Later.
got their notepad down and just like, yes.
Do it, guys. That's such a good idea. Yeah, and I think it would, if they do implement something like this, it would have to have a bit of a shift in the league setup to have. I do think there needs to be that downtime period still, so maybe it would have to be between those leagues. Because, oh man, I'd be so exhausted though. If I went hard at the start of the league and then a new thing came out, I'm going hard at that, and then I'm like, all right, 1 week race.
Yeah.
Like, just kept going, no break.
Sorry, because now my mind is racing. To throw onto that idea, what you have is, and you have this from every challenge league in the future, right? Is that the last month, both of the mods of the leagues merge. So Rampage becomes Rampage Beyond, Beyond becomes Beyond Rampage. Every league, because people are curious, but sometimes people are stuck in Standard or Hardcore. They don't want to change like the way they play, but they want to check out the other league. So either the leagues swap in the final month, or they combine, right? So in the final month of every challenge
or
league.
the 2 week race
exactly.
between does that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Interfering with the leagues.
I don't want it to interfere with the leagues either. I think that you should keep them separate. Segregation. No, and then just do your 2 week race. Like that 2 week race was like the most fun I think I've had in Path of Exile in terms of the league setup. That ambush invasion.
Yeah, I think the reason why the merged race is so much fun though is because I want to say most people have not been in both leagues extensively, so you don't know the full weight of the consequences as we saw in the previous one with strong boxes. Like even myself, like I participated in the race, I played ambush. The Ice Nova boxes were nerfed, and I still died to it on my character. And like, you really don't know the extent of the league unless you've actually extensively played in them. And that's what I like the races for. But your previous idea was amazing.
But yeah,
well,
Pucks,
this is still a good idea. I just think it needs to be separate in that 1 week.
Pucks, I've literally not opened an Ice Nova box since I watched your video of Europe. Literally not once.
Off screen, one shot. I get scared every time I go to Shipyard now. It's just such a nice map. It's such a cruise, but I'm just like, that box shook me up.
And it's like, you get excited when it says Rogue Exile, but you're like, well, my computer is okay, but how long is this MTX going to take to load? That's something I need to consider. Oh, those are the worst. I died on my old computer. It was a great rig. It could run anything except for PoE and Rogue Exiles and boxes. Rip.
I've actually read interesting stuff about, well, not just SSD, but RAM disk completely removing, box lag and stuff. And I think, while it's an unfortunate reality, I mean, I have a really good rig, and I don't have any issues with lockboxes. So
Same now.
Same. SSD makes a big difference. It's asset loading has always been a problem for action RPGs. I've found. I had the same problems in D3. Had the same problems here. I've had problems in other random ARPGs I've played as well. Just that way they pull assets out, and that causes the hang up if you've got that load time as it pulls the information. SSD makes a big difference, guys, if you have a lot of asset loading issues, like microtransactions and exiles and
I
things.
hate to be that guy, but we shouldn't have to go out to buy an SSD to play a game that requires minimal graphics.
Well, that's what you were
I
saying
know, but
before,
SSD is
how-
a standard for gaming now.
It
I
is.
feel.
So yeah, when I got my SSD and then I realized I turned on my computer, and normally what I used to do is go make a cup of coffee, go to the bathroom, come back. Oh yeah, I'm just loading into Windows. Now it's turn on the computer, glance down at my watch, look up, I'm in Windows. Oh my god, right? It's just amazing. I can't go back.
And now we never go outside ever again.
Outside? Is that a new league? What are the mods?
Oh my god, did you really just... Are you a LARPer angry? Yeah, confirmed. Confirmed.
I think for people who don't know the difference than SSD, with someone without a solid state drive and someone with a solid state drive, depending on how bad your overall computer is, I could Alt F4 my PoE, restart it, and log in before some people can switch a zone.
Yeah.
It's true.
Crazy. On my old laptop, I was getting Imperial Gardens sometimes it would take 2 to 3 minutes to load, 3 minutes
I
per
had some
time.
of those, yeah.
On my SSD, it's 10 seconds, which feels like an eternity now. But I don't know what's up
So
with that zone.
impatient.
So now that we're talking about Dead League, what do you think this 1 week's going to be? You think it's going to be just your standard rig merger? Or do you think they'll do another donation thing where you donate, or they're going to do another one of those? You could win XXXX. Remember how they had all those things? All those different variables. You could win Turtle Beach headsets and MTXs. Remember when they did that? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that. I think they're definitely going to do the league merge. I think it was too popular last time to not do. I mean, with these leagues, it's not going to be as exciting as when Ambush came over to, Fast Hardcore players.
Ambush Invasion.
When we finally got a chance to try out the lockboxes in a merged league, that was really cool. But I don't think it's going to be as exciting as that. So actually, I guess thinking about that, maybe I hope they do add something else to the 1 week. But yeah, maybe some fun extra stuff like that. I like when they do charity events and things like that as well. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I do think that, funnily enough, Rampage and Beyond will synergize to an extent, because, you're killing stuff, you've built up your Rampage stacks, then you summon demons, but you want a Rampage, right?
The stun nova will be pretty nice when Beyond mobs spawn.
Yeah, so, it won't be too bad. I think it'll be interesting to see the permutations. And, it's just an opportunity for the poor softcore players to actually experience a decent league mods, because I honestly thought Beyond was far superior to Rampage. In terms of just funness. So,
do you think they'll do the separate softcore and hardcore variants of the same thing again? So combine the mods in both, but have a softcore. Didn't they do that last time?
They did that the 1 month, because the 1 month
added a hardcore.
was going to be softcore only.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Reddit was Reddit, and then we had our hardcore one. It was just dealt with pretty poorly, but GGG handled it very well. Anyways, I just think...
the community reaction there.
Yeah, that community reaction was... I'm entitled to a free-to-play game! Give me what I want! It needs to go, people. They work so hard for you.
GGG handled that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think they will do that again this time, though? Have a hardcore and softcore version, or will it just be a hardcore?
I
remember...
Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't know, I remember Chris saying he was really sorry that there wasn't a hardcore league initially offered, and that they won't make that same mistake again. Because there was an enormous amount of nerd rage, over the lack of a hardcore league. Because just lots of hardcore players were like, I don't care if there's no mods, I just want to play hardcore, right? So, just give us our hardcore. And so Chris was like, sorry, we'll always make sure there's segregated leagues next time. We thought it was a cool idea, but you shit on our parade, so sorry.
Cred for
So, yeah.
trying.
I might be wrong, but that's as far as I remember, that was the case.
Do you guys have any predictions for what the mods will be on the new leagues? We talked about this a bit in pre-show, but we never actually talked about it. I'm terrible at coming up with these ideas. I don't know. I just can't do it. I constantly marvel at ZiggyD's ability to come up with ideas. And now you, Angry, you're an ideas man. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you have any ideas? Now, keep in mind that they said they want them to be a bit more involved and detailed than the current league, since they don't have an expansion to go with it and they have more time to work on it. What would you do, man? What would be your ideas?
If I was Quarrel, I would have looked at. I would take a retrospective look at all the different leagues. For those of you who don't know, Quarrel is like the lead balance designer and stuff. Well, actually, maybe not Quarrel. I don't know who does this stuff, but anyway. And I would be like, well, what's been our most successful model, right, when it comes to league mods? And I think the two most successful models have been maybe Rogue Exiles and Lockboxes, right? And mainly, I think Lockboxes by far the best thing out of all the leagues. If you look at all the leagues, easily. And why is that? Because players, firstly, the difficulty is matched to the reward. Big reward, big difficulty. People die to lockboxes all the time.
The potential reward is matched to the potential difficulty. It always has to, for Path of Exile, it always has to be potential. Guaranteed rewards are bad for Path of Exile.
I agree, Ziggy. I agree. So, yeah, potential reward, potential difficulty. And the other thing about that is the optional challenge. So you're sitting in Merciless and like negative resist, you don't have to open the lockbox, right? You don't have to roll the lockbox. You know, you've got all these options. The player has the power.
But you will anyway.
Well, exactly, but that empowers the player. So like, you open the lockbox and die, and you're like, crap, I'm an idiot. But you run into the instance and a porcupine like kills you from off screen, you're like, that's not my fault, right? I wasn't my choice. So you're mad at the game now, you're not mad at yourself. Where when you die to a lockbox, you're not mad at the game. You're mad at yourself, unless you don't have an SSD. But you know, you know what I mean. So I think the new league mod, at least for hardcore, will be a variable, will be an optional challenge plus reward. So something along the model of a lockbox precisely, but it might be a summonable monster. I think it'll be something like a monster that we summon, right? But it'll drop cool loot, but it'll be difficult, you know. Something interesting like that. So it gives players, you know, it doesn't force us like bull crap on us, right? But it makes us feel dumb when we die because we are the one that summoned them, right? But we can't resist the cool bright shiny loots.
I'm definitely on the angry train now. That's like an excellent way to look at it. Like looking at what has been successful in the previous leagues and why, and then creating something around that. I mean, I really struggle to think of what you would create around that, but those are the mechanics they really need to hit. I agree, for sure.
If you think about it, in like one of the biggest problems in MOBAs is you're too busy blaming other people and not yourself. Whereas you want a game where you're blaming yourself for your mistakes rather than something else. And honestly, you're hitting the nail on the head right there. Games would be amazing because then if you're blaming yourself, you only want to make yourself a better player, and you're focusing more on the content rather than just blaming the game, blaming the company, blaming the people around you. It's honestly genius. Where are you going?
Bye, Pox.
Bye, Pox. But this is the thing, right? Like, it's not like GGG haven't come up with this stuff. This isn't like new or revolutionary. They just need to look at the good ideas they've already made and implement them. Right? Like they need to.
Well,
to
be
move
fair,
away.
I think Beyond was essentially them trying to hit those mechanics, and just in execution it didn't work out. Because Beyond, the idea of Beyond is that it's optional. You can the idea was that you could control when they spawn. It just didn't so happen that the optional section of that didn't really work quite well, I don't think. When they first announced it, I thought this is perfect. It's optional challenge content with extra reward. The rewards kind of weren't there. I think most people would agree with that, and the optional thing wasn't quite there as well. So I think they tried that, and I hope they try that again and just get the execution a little bit better next time.
Yeah, like I remember imagining Beyond, like before, you know, when it was announced and it hadn't been released yet, and I was like, I imagine these red orbs spawning, and you click the orb and it summons demons, right? And instead it was orb spawn, but the demons get summoned without your consent, right? And that screwed everything up. And I was just like, this is Invasion all over again, except now instead of the mobs just two-shotting you, now you 1,000 shot the mobs.
Instead of off-screening you, they appear behind you.
Yeah. So, you know, like, I'm sure they'll get it right this time, I think. Like, I think they've probably done a good retrospective. And, you know, Beyond and Rampage did honestly seem rushed. I don't know, honestly, I don't know what their thinking was with Rampage, because like Rampage seemed to be them trying to emulate like Diablo 3's kill streaks and stuff, you know, like bonus XP because you killed 200 monsters or whatever. I didn't like the concept of Rampage, and yeah, I don't know.
And not
That's
only
just
that,
me.
but it makes the whole clear speed. You know, the age old question of what's the clear speed in this build? Can you kill its area?
Yeah.
Like it's just amplifying that more, and you're like, please.
Yeah, and stopping to scratch your nose, you know, penalizes you. I didn't really like that aspect of the mechanic either.
I think we should have a Atziri viable league. You're only allowed to play builds that are Atziri viable.
Uber Atziri.
We're gonna have to buy special throw again.
Just remove all the skills, just like you spawn with the shavs and Spectral
Wow.
Be amazing.
Yeah.
Someone in chat says, "How about optional mobs which drop tokens? You know, like the MMO style system where you get like an extra currency that you can trade for specific items."
That goes back to
I initially am kind of repulsed by the idea, but I can't tell you why exactly. Just the idea kind of repulses me straight away.
Well,
What do you guys think?
it goes against the potential loot system they already have in place.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed loot. Screw that.
There's the guarantee, and then the fact is, now are you grinding for levels or are you grinding for a unique? Because the whole point of Path of Exile is you can't go to this area to grind this unique, but now you can go to this area to grind the same mob over 100 times because it's the most efficient way to go to buy your guaranteed unique. So that would be the biggest problem in it.
Another thing to think about that too is that feel when you open up your master and there's a Chevrons for 5 chaos.
Yes.
And you're that guy that gets to make that post.
I don't know that feel.
Well, one other thing, flip side on what Angry was saying earlier, is that they just changed it now. So they wanted to prevent you from going to the corrupted zone and then resetting it over and over and over. So now the boss itself has a chance of dropping of you know what you want now. So I really think they're trying to get away from that aspect.
I think a nice thing they could do is like have basically like it's like a lot like Elrond quests, right? Where basically you find like a corrupted shrine or something, and you can choose to activate it, and you can maybe even choose to roll the shrine, much like a lockbox. And then you get assaulted by waves of monsters that culminate in a boss, and the boss drops something nice. And you know everything that the waves, like the shrine itself has mods that can spawn. So it's like a lockbox, but it's different, you know, and it shakes up the playstyle because you know PoE is normally a game where you're constantly pushing through the map. And what I quite enjoyed about Albion Quest was it changed the dynamics in an interesting way, in that you were defending an area, or you had to go and assassinate the different idols, and like they could expand on that concept, I think, and make something interesting as a league mod in that way. Like that would be that's what I would be thinking of if I was GGG. Like I'm sure they'll come up with something good, but probably not that idea. But you know that's what I would think of.
If you think about Elrond Quest too, like there'll be times where, you know, the ones where you have to kill the totems, like the 3 little thingies. I will personally leave up the last one just because you got a minute to do it, just for the extra experience too. Like they're so well designed because you don't have to leave the area. It's just a bunch of monsters. You're like, hey, this is my kind of gameplay. I love that about Elrond Quest. And whereas you get Katarina and you're just like, well, I get no experience from this, and I have to run halfway across the map, and there's skeletons
Katarina
everywhere.
missions.
I mean, put up your hand if Elrond is your favorite master quest, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Close.
I think
Very
it's.
hands down.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Get out of the podcast right
All
now.
about-
I love puncture. Come on, I love puncturing exiles, one-shotting exiles from off-screen. It puts them on the map. You can just like
Varici.
off-screen them with puncture.
Here's the problem with
missions
Varici
are so good.
mods. Well, it's to not kill the exile, and he's an assassin master. What is he assassinating?
Yeah.
Nothing, and he wants me to open a chest. Good
the chest is
one. Like,
I think
come on.
I think you guys
Okay,
need to get
let
on.
me-
Go on.
Sorry, I need to rage. Sorry. I need to rage about Varici Quest very quickly.
Go.
Okay.
I'm
Path of
down.
Exile is a game where you are like you come new into the game, and there's like this old wizened veteran, and he's like, "I'm here to teach you how to play Path of Exile." You see, Path of Exile is a game where you AoE the hell out of everything. AoE everything. AoE. AoE is the best option every time. Melee splash. Increased area of effect. Blow everything up. Oh, there's a single target. Just blow him up anyway, right? This game trains you. It trains you from a young age to AoE, right? AoE is the core of everything. And then this master comes in, he's like, hey guys, yeah, I want you to single target that and don't AoE. And you're like, eh? But
Always
the
kill
last-
the exile.
but you've trained me, like this is what you've done. You've rewarded me, master. Why did you lie to me, right? And like I hate that. Like I don't like games that train you to play in a way, and then totally throw a curveball, right? Like I don't like that at all, actually. And like they've even done stuff in boss fights where they've added monsters so that you can still AoE, right? And then they go and throw this like sort of design brick where now I have this character that's designed to play the game in a certain way, and then I just can't, like, as a summoner, I just can't do Varishi missions, right? Like,
Yep.
He's my lowest level because of that reason.
Like I want to, like, give me the power to, like, allow me to control my minions in a way that I can do them, but I can't do some of them, and I find that as a player frustrating.
I'm just puncture biased, I think. That's my problem.
Yeah.
So really fast.
Go ahead,
Really
Tom.
fast. Just want to chime in. My favorite one, just really, really quickly, is that I think you guys need to get on the hype train of the Shroud Walking Barrage Totem. It's
Stupid.
Oh my god.
that thing does a lot of damage in Merciless. We did it on our Lightning Tendril challenge, and it almost insta-gibbed us. That totem right there. Yep. Anyway, go on, Zeno.
Oh, like the
Wow.
I want to go back to Varishi Quest, man. Like Varishi Quest, it's hilarious too because you get so into it, and you're just like, all right, man. There's a guaranteed freaking exile. Like, all right, for instance, if it's kill the exile and keep the guards alive, you kill the exile, the guards don't despawn. But if it's to kill the guards but not the exile despawns because you don't get the loot. I'm like, what the hell is this crap?
That was such a scam. Like,
Yeah.
like you know, in terms of lore and stuff, it makes sense for them to run away when you weren't supposed to kill them. But I liked getting that bonus kill at the end. Why
Can we
did
just
they
change
scam
his
us
name
of
to
that?
Master, like, not Assassin? Because half the time he doesn't kill anything. He has you go kill it, which I guess maybe that would make a Master Assassin because he doesn't even have to do anything, so he's the Master. But at the end of the day, when he says keep him low life for 35 seconds, I'm like, all right, I still get the loot. But when he's like, don't kill something, I'm like, what kind of assassin are you? Like, where the hell did you get your assassin needs from?
Yeah, I often just kill the exile anyway now. Screw the
Yeah.
mission.
Get the loot. Maybe a map, yeah.
Exile kill more satisfying than the tiny piddly little bit of XP you get that's never going to get me to level 8.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll just level them when they buff the XP.
like
You know they're going to.
Torah missions are like kill everything. You're like, okay, she's more of a Master Assassin than Varichi ever was. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
My kind of disillusionment with the master system, I think the master system is great on many levels, but like I have no impetus to grind them because I ended up having like 10 friends that had like level 8 masters, and they would offer it without any crafting fees. I was just like, well, I don't need to grind masters anymore. So okay, I just don't do any master missions, like, so I get all the crafting benefits, but I don't know, that felt kind of wrong to me in a way.
Yeah, I just give my items to Pox and he gets perfect rolls every time, so I'm
Yeah,
fine.
he really does.
Except if it's my gear. If it's my
Yes,
gear, it's minimum.
of course.
But it's literally
works, right?
perfect. Like, literally perfect for, like, all my friends. And for me, it is literally minimum. It's so weird. I'm gonna give my items to people so they can trade it back to me so I can craft it to trick the game, and then they'll trade it back to me.
Good, nice try.
What were we talking about again before we got derailed by masters?
Oh, who knows?
That's a good question.
Oh, what you
yeah,
would expect to
awesome.
see in the new league, and then we were
just-
hyping up Elrond, and then snowball effect.
We're just getting the angry ideas. It's all just a catalyst for angry ideas.
So going back to you guys, what do you expect in the new leagues? For, not just for hardcore, but for
Well,
standard as well.
Chris already confirmed on Reddit that it won't be a typical kill a certain amount of things mob spawn idea on Reddit. He mentioned something like that. So I have no idea what the hardcore is going to be. Usually, in most games, to make a game harder, it's add more mobs or add a one-shot gimmick. So I'm hoping they're not going down the one-shot gimmick train. Like don't stand in fire gimmick or move out of circles. But they already confirmed it's not going to be more mobs are spawning like in most games. That's how you make things harder. You add more, or you add like some sort of don't stand in fire gimmick.
So
I
they
had another
specifically
idea.
said more mobs won't be spawning.
Yes, he said in specific on Reddit,
Okay.
I thought he just said things won't pop in your face.
which is the
Yeah.
same damn thing. Like,
Well,
is
I don't
it
know
not?
about
Not
that.
really.
Adding density and adding something that appears in your face, I think, are two different
I
things.
just don't want another onslaught where it's just like turbo everywhere. No, I don't want a pack size everywhere. I want there to
Yeah.
be some creativity behind it.
So
Go
I'm
on,
sorry,
Eric.
guys.
Go on.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm on a roll tonight, okay? I apologize. Okay. So, my other idea for League Mod. Okay. Basically, like, rifts or whatever spawn, right? They're basically like mini maps. But the thing about it is when you go into this rift, you get like 100% increased like item rarity and like 50% increased item quantity. But The rift is unstable, and you only have a limited amount of time in here. So it's basically like, you know, high density, crazy drops, but you only have like a minute, or you only have 2 minutes. And, you know, it's like an endless ledge, so it goes on forever. But like at the end is like, you know, a boss that'll drop a lot of stuff. But, you know, if you're super fast, you can even go on to like the next level. But now it becomes, now there's a level of progression, because when you go in there at level 5, you kill like 3 mobs and then your time is up and you get ported out. But when you like level 90, you're like tearing through and you get down to the 3rd level in 1 minute and you're like, I'm so badass, look at all this loot I'm finding. And there's the sense of progression, and it becomes this like nice fresh way. So now it's like this, almost like this time challenge. Like think of it like a timed endless ledge where you only have a limited amount of
Sounds
time.
like D3, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay,
Does D3 do that?
I'm gonna cut in a little bit. All right, so one thing is I don't know if it was you or Ziggy said it, but you're contradicting. At least I'll say it. Like the one bad thing is if you're timed, you don't want to pick up loot. You just want to go. If you're not picking up loot, you're cutting into that.
And
that's like.
It amplifies clear speed.
Yes, which means everyone wants. I want to. Then it becomes how much DPS per second do you do?
DPS per second.
DPS per second. It's the new one.
That's like
D3 has a system, and the way they got around that not wanting to pick up loot was they removed loot in that system. Like no loot drops. The loot drops at the end from the final boss. I mean, if they implemented a system in PoE, they could use that idea. It's a solution to the problem. But I don't know if the game that it's promoting is good for PoE overall.
Yeah. Pox, like that's a really, really good point, and I think you're like me and you would be a good team, because like I'm the rabbit pitbull, and you put the chain around my neck, and you're like, hey, calm down. But not only that, but like one of the issues I had at the start of Beyond, when it was so hard to kill Beyond mobs, is I was looking at build viability, and I was seeing it going to I need super high DPS, or I don't have fun in this league, right? Like unless I can burn down Beyond mobs in X seconds, my build just doesn't feel very viable. And I was like, this is terrible. Like I happened to be playing a build that had enough DPS, but I was like, this sucks, because I was thinking of all these new specs I wanted to do, and I couldn't do them, you know, before the Beyond nerf, because they wouldn't have the DPS, and I was like, this sucks. So you're right, and like if you make a league mechanic where that is like DPS gated or something, what you end up doing is narrowing build viability, and that sucks, because the joy of PoE is quite the opposite.
Sounds good, true. I just want a league that's not centered around, yo man, you're not crit, you suck. Like I just want something that's just like, I want to play the game, have fun, but it's hard. Like I don't know. Hopefully they come out with that. So all this new league strategy talk. Has we got anything else? Any other ideas?
Yes, I just thought of something really random right now. That's probably bad, but it just popped in my head, so I'm gonna say it.
Do it.
What if like so? Say you're running. This could happen at any point in time. Like whether you're leveling solo or you're running maps and stuff. Now there are negative aspects, I've already seen it, but randomly your character will get teleported out of where you are, and then you'll have like a side mission to do to get back to your area. So like everyone's mapping, and then all of a sudden you'll just get poured out. I guess other people could clear the map, and then you'll just have to do the side mission. I don't know what the reward would be, but just general, it's just something different. Like you're just randomly doing something, you get ported, and boom, you're doing a side mission now or something. I don't know exactly what it is. Then again, they do already have a lot of extra side zones that you can do, so I don't know, but it's just something unexpected. Like
unexpected.
I think it'd be interesting.
As long as it's not another Fairgrounds quest.
Yeah, this time nothing's popping up on you. You're popping up somewhere else. So I think it'd be interesting.
So teleport sounds like Desync League. Oh.
Wow.
I like it.
You mean Haku League? Oh, imagine a Haku League where like the whole league is like doing Haku quests. Like you're just running through narrow corridors, desyncing back and dying like the whole league. Sounds amazing, right?
How about let's just throw the entire game out the window, and let's Dungeon Master League. We actually have one person creating the zones that the other people run, and depending on how poorly they do, if they die, you get better loot at the end.
Oh god, no. No Haku, please. It's honestly like the worst design thing. Let's have this really narrow corridor that has a bunch of mobs. So once you kill them, you don't desync anymore. But don't worry, on your way back, they respawn.
Don't make fun of my Haku. He is so awesome. He has like cast when damage taken, 650 volt sparks at the same time. He's like the best guy in the world. Like what other guy can literally do like firestorm calls with boulders falling with like pure physical damage, summon skull. Oh, he's so perfect. He's amazing. Forgot to mention you can't use mobility skills in there, or else you drop the item that you're trying to pick up.
That's the worst. That is the worst. I was like, you know what? I'm playing dual strike dagger build. I got all this attack speed. It'd be great, man. I'll just use whirling blades because I found this like 80 life pair boots, tri-res, just really, really good evasion. I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this. No move speed. I was like, I got whirling blades anyways. Well, here comes a Haku mission.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Can't use whirling blades anymore. It was terrible bad.
Ripku, man. Ripku.
Yeah.
I haven't done a Ripku mission in a long time. They're just not fun because of the risk of desync, you know. They're just not, like, that's the problem.
Cast on
like, in a world with no desync, they would be great, you know, but we live in a world of desync.
I actually can say I've never once in this league ever died to a Haku mission. But I've died to 4 strong boxes.
Strong boxes are no joke, man. The freeze and the ice nova will always get you. Yeah, you can have your dispel freeze, but that ice nova, that one time your lightning warp, you get stunned while you're casting. Good luck.
That one time that ice nova freezes you when it supposedly can't crit and you have no frostbite. That's what I'm still confused.
Can someone explain that? Why? Like, all right, boxes aren't supposed to crit, right?
Supposedly.
Do boxes have a chance to freeze with ice nova? Because ice nova has frozen me like twice now, and I'm just like, what? What? It can happen.
I didn't know about that. It might have the default crit chance on it.
I think it's a bug. I don't know.
I don't think it crit me because I would have died. All I know is all my zombies have like 13k HP, got frozen. I got frozen, and then my specters got frozen. And there was no freeze, and everyone on my stream was like, what? Because it was like a 3 or 4 second freeze, and I'm just like, what? I don't know. It was really weird. Yep.
So I guess on that point, the next thing we had listed to talk about was new league strategy. Basically, what's the best way to start out with a new league, or how do you guys like to start out on a new league, accumulate wealth? You know, how do you maximize the beginning of a new league for you guys?
Sell dominance runs.
Honestly,
selling boss kills is like, or magic finding runs and stuff like that is. I never kind of realized how legit that is early in the league, how much money you can make doing that. Until very recently.
It's because Cruel Dominus is such a huge block. I mean, you just have to look at the death statistics, but I mean, for so many specs and builds out there, Cruel Dominus, you know, self-found effectively is terrifying, and particularly in a hardcore league. So being able to buy it, just 1 or 2 chaos, man, you know, that's what you want to do. So if you can get ahead of the curve early and sell the dom kills, you're gonna make a killing. Yeah, absolute killing.
Honestly, one of the best. Like, I can't tell you how many times I showed procurement on stream now. And people are like, what is that? What is that? You want to make quick money? New league comes out. Put your crap on procurement day one. Day one when you go to sleep, put that up. You will have tons of whispers the next day. Because you could put crap, literal crap on that auction house, but it's better than the crap they're wearing, they'll buy it.
Yeah, but it's what they need. They need that one life, and they need, for some reason, exactly 22% fire res, because that's exactly what they search. I searched 22 fire res, no over, no under. So, I mean,
you could have a ring with 22 fire res and dex, and someone will buy that crap. Honestly.
And I think the most important thing, particularly early in the league, is to, like, with procurement selling, is to take what you can get. So, like, not being very picky, because that stuff is going to be rotting in your stash like 2 days later. So someone's like, you got a ring, and you're like, I think this ring is worth 2 chaos, and someone's like, 1 chaos? Take it, man. He's probably the only person that wants to buy the ring anyway. So, like, for small chip change stuff, just sell it, just sell it, just sell it. Sell it like candy. It's the only stuff you really want to negotiate is the good items, you know, the expensive stuff. That you can be a bit kind of greedy on, but don't be greedy with the cheap stuff. Just get it out of there.
Those first 2 weeks, you could sell anything. Absolutely anything. And like Angry said, it's just going to rot in your bank the rest of the time there, and you're like, why is this in my stash? I should have sold it for the 3 chaos instead of the freaking 5 I asked for. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And sorry, go Ziggy.
I was going to say, my favorite part of the new leagues is getting to piety or getting to dominus, like getting to that kind of that point there where you can start farming, even without magic find, getting there early, like in the first couple of days, and running procurement, just getting your procurement set up, setting up your stash tabs, and just dumping so much stuff in there, and just making so many sales. Like every time you update procurement, refresh your shop thread, which is all automatic now. You just press the button in the actual procurement app, and every time I refresh that, it's like instantly, like 3 seconds later, a couple sales, like tons of chaos, and just selling stuff like really cheap, as Angry said, just listing things for a couple chaos here and there, just whatever. Gloves with life and a resist on them, go ahead, that's 2 chaos, whatever. like at the start of the league, just making so much wealth there, and that's like my favorite part of Path of Exile in the new leagues is that kind of feeling there, getting there and doing those piety runs, like as a group or whatever, or even just solo, just getting there early and doing that trading is so enjoyable.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and the converse is also true, and I'm surprised at how often people don't like understand converse relationships, which is if people are selling junk for cheap, lowball them. You want to buy something on like that someone's listed on procurement, lowball them. Lowball them like it's worth 3 chaos, lowball them for 1, because you know what, they're probably going to be like, well, you know, let's just sell it because it's currency, right? So like you can get really good deals, right?
I'll take it most of the time.
Yeah, you should be selling stuff even if you lowball, but you can lowball too. So like you can get great deals. You can get great deals on quality gems. You can I remember once buying a 17% quality zombie for like 3 chaos, which was an incredible deal at the time. And like you can get fantastic deals on really decent mid-tier rares that you just need to make that push through into Merciless, and lowball, man, just lowball your heart away.
Another thing people forget is when you're in trade, like. All that down to pucks. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I don't care about the lowballing, but the 17% quality zombie for 3 chaos. Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay. Go on, Zeno.
When you're in a new league and usually you party with 4 or 5 people, however many people you're partying with, during that downtime when everyone's doing their bio breaks, this is the time you open up trade chat. If you don't play with it normally open, want to buy Shockwave Totem 1C, they'll buy it. Sell your gems. Just sell gems like crazy. You could sit in trade chat the first month of a league and just sell gems ridiculously.
Yeah. Gems are my biggest seller for the first couple of weeks, for sure.
Oh, yeah, the demand is huge.
Just
Definitely
if you
huge,
price
huge.
them, you just have to price them. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
If you don't price them, you won't sell anything. But if you price gems, they'll sell like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Every aura you could sell for 1C in the new league. Straight up, Hatred will go for 1C until about maybe 2 weeks in. Hatred, reduced manas used to be like that, but now everyone gets them. But you could still, if you're the first one to get reduced manas and you're selling them, something to think about.
Someone's gonna figure out a way to efficiently like multi-client characters to Merciless and get the library reward and like mass-produce spell echoes and make a killing, and a couple of other useful gems along the way.
Day 1 and beyond, I sold a multi-strike for 1 exalt. A multi-strike.
Whoa!
And you can't, because exalts are worth nothing. They're worth 15C at the beginning of the league, and someone really needs it they're playing a Reaver. What's Reaver without multi-strike?
Captain Strike.
Yeah, it's Captain
crazy,
Strike,
man.
exactly. That's the next thing. Like, I make that mistake too much. Like, last league, I did the right approach. I was like, I read the math, I saw Ice Shot got a huge buff. I was like, Ice Shot's going to be big. So I made an Ice Shot character, and it was a success. But too many people, they try this really clunky idea, and I'm definitely known to do these clunky ideas for builds when I don't have the currency to back them. Like, at the beginning of the new league, I might just play Self-Cast Art, just to get me to the point where I need to buy whatever I want to play next. But I think I'm just going to play something easy, no problem self-founds, and I think that's another thing people struggle on, especially me, where you can't go wrong with self-found Arc. Who's not going to want a freaking 1.5 times damage boost at all times in their party? And good damage. I don't know.
Yeah, on that note, what do you guys do? It's honestly, it's kind of too early, but someone mentioned in chat, what do you guys want to play in the new league? What sort of, do you want to play like a strong sort of well-proven character, or are you going to try something new, or are you going to try a Magic Fund build? What do you guys like to do with the new league?
I'm probably going to do a spin-off on my Shockwave Totem, assuming right now, just based off the current skill tree, if I see like an opportunity to present itself for a new build, then of course I'm going to go with that. But for right now, I started Shockwave Totem over on the Taiwan server before these servers went live, and I saw it was going to work, so I played it on this one, and now I can see the real potential of it, so I'm going to remake it most likely. Just as a starting character, and that can transition into pretty much anything I want.
Shockwave Totem, I like watching you self-found last time with like no money whatsoever, and you wrecked everything. Shockwave Totem is so solid, and it's a shame that people still aren't hyping it up when it's such a good skill and has great clear speed.
Was crazy was I mean, I've never played Shockwave Totem, but I ran with a guy with Shockwave Totem in my party. It was a difficult map, and we took no damage. And that's what blew my mind. Was the knockback totally trivializes so many dangerous monsters, and I was just like, wow, I feel so safe. It felt like running with like a Prolif Freeze Ice Spear spec. Like really, it was amazing. Everything's getting ping-ponged all over the place.
Yeah, people say they don't like it in parties. There's not one person that said they didn't like it when I partied with. You can ask Ziggy.
Yeah.
So Ziggy would party with me. Any mob that doesn't die in like a quarter of a second, you put one totem on one side, put one totem on the other side, and the mob likes to stay in the middle, and it gets vibrated and goes ping-pong.
Bro, of course
just
I
like
like
that.
it. The puncture Shockwave Totem synergy is so good.
The only complaint I have about your build that Ziggy would probably see is that you didn't use Arctic Armor Box.
Well, that's because I just didn't want to use it. That's no other reason. So, it's cheating. Arctic Armor is cheating. Mitigates too much damage.
So, Angry, I mean, obviously we want to see patch notes. Like, what do you know? They always do like a dynamic shift. What do you guys predict is like the next big gem to get buffed? Lightning Arrow? You know, is Ignite going to finally get the nerf bat? Is Ellie Prolif finally going to get the nerf bat? Like, what's going to happen?
I think they might give us our bow movement skill or Herald of Anarchy, Herald of Stone or whatever it was for the start of the new league. And if they go for the former, the bow movement skill, I'm already kind of tempted to make another bow character at the start of the new leagues, and I might do that anyway. Maybe I'll make like an elemental or something. But if they add one of the new ones, then I'm going to try and just do some build that I don't know is going to work, like with the new heralds. But yeah, that's usually my strategy. Like what I really enjoy in the game is trying new things and learning new things about the game, and that's kind of counter to the best way to start a new league, which is with a well-proven build or a Magic Find build. So I don't know, maybe I'll Magic Find. That's certainly something different that I haven't done before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm oscillating between two. I like kind of like theorizing about like how to really crush the beginning of a new league, like particularly financially. So I'm oscillating between two options here. Like how do I? And the first option is level a MF ult, right? Then level my main character, whatever it happens to be, and then do dual client Dominus farming. That's what I did at the beginning of Beyond League, and I made 25 exalts in 4 days, right? So that's pretty good. And I had two stash tabs full of alterations.
I watched you do that. That's like when I actually first started watching your stream. I was like, this guy is a genius. I was blown away by that.
Alterations are so good. Like having essentially unlimited alterations is like I can just roll pack size on every map, right? My map pool was amazing the whole league. I never went below 1078 maps. So that's wonderful, right? So that's my one idea, right? I've done that before, but it's just so good. And you know what? When you start dumb farming, it's so hard to stop. It's so addictive getting so much wonderful loot, particularly in the beginning of a league. So that's my first idea. Second idea is basically I make like you do the rush for Aziri. So what you do is you make like Rises, Morses, Incinerate build, and you rush to Aziri. Yeah, sorry, I had to throw that in there. You rush for Aziri and you farm Aziri and you make $1 million selling items if you can pull it off, right? Because that Incinerate build can do Aziri so cheaply. If you can pull it off and you're one of the first people to be farming Aziri and like you have a clever way of getting sacrifice fragments, be it buying it from friends or a good way to farm them, you know, you could make a killing, probably a lot more than dumb farming. So I would, you know, as a different way to approach a new league and making bank, I was thinking of doing that instead. Maybe could be interesting.
So no summoner, wow.
I know, right? Be
Summoner
weird.
takes time to kick off sometimes, so.
Any predictions for skills that are going to get changed? Like, do you think
I wouldn't-
Frenzy will finally revert back to its
I
decency?
don't know about that. I wouldn't be surprised with a puncture tornado shot nerf. Just a little.
Yeah, yeah.
Tornado shot.
I think they're going to get
puncture.
nerfed.
The thing is, like, Frenzy was the only single target skill before, and that's because people didn't realize how strong Puncture was, and obviously Puncture takes the cake now. But, like, Frenzy just really had no need to be nerfed. You had to use Blood Magic with it, or have a Soul Taker, or have insane Mana Leech, but then they nerfed Mana Leech, so it's like, well, I don't understand the nerf. I would love to see that thing rebuffed, and maybe even better, or nerf the mana cost, something to make it not crap. Or, you know, like a Lightning Arrow change, now that it's the weak arrow. Burning Arrow has its niche. Ice Shot's solid. There's no need to nerf Ice Shot. I think it's actually balanced. I would love to see Lightning Arrow get a slight change.
You know, I must say, I think it does feel good to see Archer characters again. With the reign of Spectral Throw finally being relatively over, it's just good to see bow characters. Like, they were an extinct species. So it's good to have them back. That being said, I'd fully expect tornado shots and puncture nerf. Probably just a slight one, right? Like probably like in the realm of 10% damage reduction. Just because I don't know, when I look at a retrospect of these leagues, I think tornado shot puncture build was probably the best build. Probably the best spec out there.
Yeah.
Just in general. Like it could do everything and it was really safe and tanky while having excellent damage. It's probably I would say objectively the best spec.
Tornado shot's
Maybe I'm wrong.
like one of those specs where you can use puncture with it, but it does great single target and great AoE damage. It's just so good, and it has a more multiplier on the gem itself. 1.1, right? It's 1.1, or yeah, it gets up to 109%, 110 more damage. I mean, it's insane. So, I mean, it is definitely. I wouldn't say it's path of tornado shot, but if you're playing a bow or if you're not tornado shot, you get the flak. Oh,
yeah, that was good. I also suspect that Mortal Conviction will be changed with Blood Magic because people are not using it for its intended use, which was like you're a Marauder and you run like Hatred on Blood Magic. No, people are doing horrible, sneaky, overpowered things like me, where I'm running like a bazillion auras on Blood Magic with all my life, and then using ES with Solaris Lyrica and trashing everything. So
that's super hard to balance that though. That's like
exactly
one of the most difficult things to balance in the game at the moment.
Yeah, that's what they said. They're like. What did they say? It's in Dev Nightmare or whatever it's called when they were on our episode 15. Like,
not even I have ideas for that one. Seriously.
They're like they said they had multiple ideas about it, which they pretty much heard them all, and they don't know if choosing one was. It's just a nightmare for them to try and balance because old Blood Magic they had auras on flat mana and it was just insane.
Oh my god.
And then they make it percentile, and then they add mana reduction, so you didn't need Blood Magic anymore. It just goes on and on and on. That is one of the hardest things to balance.
Funny story about let's see, when did I start streaming PoE in closed beta? A year and a half ago. I was going through my computer files when I used to stream with XSplit, and I had them saved, and I was watching like the old maps before they had the remember the old maps where it was like area is a maze and you had your aura bars, and I just remember running solo with like 11 auras or something, and I was like, oh my god, I miss these days. Not miss, but it was like, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, auras are still so incredibly powerful.
Oh yeah, but the change is so crazy.
Auras, they're more balanced than they were last league. They're still incredibly powerful, but now more people are reverting to heralds, which is good because it's a self buff. Auras were pretty much self buffs before. You didn't care who got it in your party. If someone got it in your party, you're like, well, I guess that's a bonus, but you didn't really think party mentality with auras. You're like, what does it do for me? So auras are definitely going back to, like, as you guys as summoners, you're like, oh, well, I got this generosity, haste, and hatred. This is really good for you. Now you're heading down that mentality, which is where auras should be.
Anyone, generosity and haste, they love you.
Generosity, haste, and hatred is just like god tier.
That's it's absurd. Like when people join my mapping group, I have to ask them like, what's your DPS? Don't kill yourself to reflect now. Because like double cursing, curse effectiveness nodes, generosity, haste, and hatred. You're basically an aura bot at that point. You just don't have the defensive auras.
And like if you're running EE and you're running LE weak, and your LE weak has curse on hit on it, and it's got enhance on it, like they don't realize how much damage LE hit could do as a physical character now. LE reflect, excuse me. How much? Like bowers, once they get to a certain amount of crit multi, they like actually have to care about LE reflect now. It's crazy, more so than physical.
Like with generosity, my summoner was adding like 64% of physical damage added as cold. Like what? And something like 32% increased attack speed and 16% increased move speed. And it's just absurd, like absurd buffs.
But it's very
really
awesome. niche, whatever the word is. I always screw up that word. But I'm saying it's very specific to that build. Not everybody can do it, which is great. It's great.
Oh, it's cool.
Auras are in an awesome spot, I think. Maybe a slight more adjustment, but I think that the whole support mentality is actually going out there where you could do support and still do damage. That's good. Before it was support was like I got quad curse and I got freeze mine and that's my whole role.
Oh god, freeze mine! Thank God that era is over.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember the people complaining about dying with a freeze miner. It's like pay attention to your own character.
So, I think we should move into the Q&A now, fellas, before we run out of time. First question comes in from This is kind of a funnier question, I guess. S. Lou, and it's asking, has Angry ever been asked to join GGG's team? Would he ever consider joining the GGG team? And if he did, what would he want to do for them? He would be their ideas man, I'm sure. Very relevant to this podcast. You haven't been asked, have you, Angry?
No. I would love to work for GGG, obviously. I mean, it would be a dream come true in many ways, and I'm sure it'll never happen. But, you know, I've always found game design fascinating and had a lot of experience with it, mainly from playing like Dungeons and Dragons and other such pen and paper games where you can modify the rules and you can change how the game works. And I found I'd be sitting there going, like, how can I be flexible and how can I change things for my players so that they enjoy the game more? And like often coming up with like lots of game design flaws in the systems themselves and like wanting to fix them, you know. And I've certainly always found that like game design as being something I've always found very interesting, you know. It's hard to get into though, of course. And honestly, I think one of the things that attracted me to Path of Exile is that their game design is excellent. Like when I just read up on the concept of Path of Exile, they explain their currency system. And I'm like, I want to play this game because whoever designs this currency system is going to make a fantastic game. Like I had faith in them. And I started playing Path of Exile back when it wasn't a great game. Like when Maelstrom of Chaos was out, it was kind of crappy, guys, honestly.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it really was a bit flat. But I was like, these guys know what they're doing. Like their game designers are pretty fantastic. So, yeah. I don't think they really need me, if you know what I mean.
So the next question comes in from Ashtar LP, and it is at everyone. What do you think of a currency item that re-rolls base items so that you can get a Midnight Blade Redbeak, for example? It would introduce so many balance problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's saying...
If you're playing armor, you're going for astral plates. If you're playing ES, you're probably you have this insane ES piece, and you're trying to go for a cultist vestment. You know, min max. That brings up the whole min max.
I think that it would also. I don't know, how would it work with item level? Like you'd have a level 1 weapon that has the highest base, and then you could craft. I think that would take low level PvP to the next level. I just realized that.
Every dagger would be ambusher. It'd be broke.
I think it'd be a little too much.
Yeah, I think it would be bad for the game. And it would actually limit unique diversity in design.
Yeah, just from being part of the unique design process so far, base item selection is a very important part of the unique design process and balancing. And giving people the ability to change that would kind of destroy the unique design system quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, someone said every Death Star would be a Harbinger. Enough said.
Yeah.
So next question comes in from Twinkle570. Do you think crit is going to be or going to get a nerf again? And I'll take the lead on this one since it was asked specifically of me. Oh, thank you. I don't think crit will get nerfed, but I do think the game mechanics will change in some way. Maybe through one of the challenge leagues mechanics or through something. It might not even be something big, but there'll be some things that crit isn't like the answer. And we discussed this, I think, last podcast where we talked about having an alternate to Atsuri, like another Uber boss that you fight, and maybe this Uber boss would not be susceptible to crits, would have like a reduced crit multiplier effect on the boss, or crit cannot be crit, something like that. So, like there is already reduced crit multiplier mechanic in the game, it's over on the Marauder passive tree. Having a boss that has a bunch of that would be kind of a bit of a counter to builds that scale all of their damage through crit. You could still obviously get a bit of scaling through crit, and you could get ignites and stuff, but reducing crit multi on that specific mob would be, you know, only a minor impediment to crit builds, but I do expect to see something like that, but I don't expect to see like a across the board nerf the crit or anything. What do you guys think?
Crit's biggest problem is crit multi. It's just insane. And once you have all those multipliers stacked up with it, especially when you get a build like what's it called, Spectral Throw, where you just stay at range and just have all this crit multi. Who cares what the damage effectiveness is? I think the problem isn't daggers. I think the problem is crit multi. And daggers do offer you a good amount of crit, and they are obviously, that's what a dagger's supposed to do. It's supposed to crit. So we don't want to nerf daggers. We just want to nerf how much crazy damage they can do where it becomes the only option. That's the problem. Where once something becomes the only option, everything else just seems useless. And then it goes back to the clear speed, you know. We could go on and on and on forever about that. Or make builds that aren't crit have like higher base damage. You know, something like Incinerate's so good and it can't crit because its damage scaling is great. There's ways to scale it. And then when you try to do a non-crit build like EK, you just like end up flat.
I think that going on the same line as what Ziggy was said, rather than doing a direct nerf to crit itself, just introducing new mechanics into the game that directly affect it. Prime example was the Marauder passive. It's already implemented critical strike multiplier reduction. Could be on mobs, you know, it could be an inherent thing. They could have something else. And the thing we talked about, was it last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, about how adding another endgame boss that is more tailored towards a completely different matchup than Adziri. Whereas Adziri, you know, is all about you need the resists or the crazy damage. Whereas this boss, like you said, I think that's a really cool way to implement it, is having it not immune, but just really, you know, not made to be killed with crits or something. So I think that they're doing okay, and they're working on ways, and they understand it's a problem to introduce it, because they've already nerfed it previously with this tree, and then they nerfed the unique items as it was, and so there's like an avalanche upstairs. So I think they're going towards the right path, and I think they have the right tools right now to see where it's going.
Yeah, and I think one thing they could do is add just like a mod into rare mobs that has crit multiplier reduction. Like have it as a base mod on champions and rares. Just a multiplier reduction, so that like crit specs occasionally run into something and it's like, well, it doesn't die instantly, it just dies in 2 seconds now, right? So that would be a bit nice. And I must say that they please don't nerf crit too much. A very light touch, if anything, because there's something to be said for acquiring all that awesome gear and then you feel powerful, and like it's important to have that aspect in an RPG, and getting to that point where you've got all your awesome gear and then everything explodes, you know, that's what people are aiming for, so you don't want to take that away from them.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. It just boggles me how there's some things that are just like complete crap and then like Ellie hit Frenzy and then you have like anything on a dagger with a solid amount of crit that aren't those two and you're just like, wow. Like Reeve and Spectre Throw, things like that are just like are insane.
But really fast to match that on the flip side, people still use Frenzy, just not for the purpose that you're thinking of. Some people use Frenzy to keep Frenzy stacks without using Blood Rage.
And then it's just it's just like a random support gen.
Well, right, but it's still good. Just like people don't typically use Ice Nova for a build, they use it for Curse on Hit, or they use Arc for Curse on Hit, even though Arc is already a skill. So it does have its own use still.
It's not that it's a use, it's finding a way to make this skill gem used, in my opinion.
Not really. I mean,
as a primary.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that. I don't know. I still find it being used. Like, I guess you could say it.
And let's go on to the next question.
Okay. From Silent Rob, and this is at Zigno specifically, do you think they'll rebalance Frenzy? I know you have a beef with it, as I do.
They need to just make it not bad. The mana cost is too much. If they keep it the way it is now and make the mana cost manageable, you can actually make builds with it. Honestly, the mana cost is just astronomically high for no reason.
I feel like it's weird that the mana cost is so high per hit when it's designed to be a very fast skill.
Exactly.
Like, that seems very counter to the design and intention of the skill.
You can't
in the current state, it's a utility skill and it's not a problem that the mana's high, but if, to make it an attack-based skill, it needs to be cheaper, for sure. I agree with that.
Can we just let Frenzy die, man? Old Yeller. Next.
Next. Alright. From Melania-chan. Melania-chan? Do you think there will be a new attack 1 skill, as there is still only Power Siphon? Well, to be fair, there's also Frenzy and Elemental Hit and Barrage. They just happen to be not very good. So maybe the problem isn't so much that there's no skills, it's that maybe the skills need to be rebalanced in the realm of wanding, like for wanding specifically. How to do that? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe passive changes could help with that a little bit. I don't know exactly what they could do for that. But I certainly wouldn't mind another wand skill, or another skill that could be used with wands. The problem is, wands, like Facebreaker builds, are a very niche, tiny build, like category of build, and to design a skill specifically for them is probably not worth GGG's design time at this point, but they're designing a skill that can be used with wands, so another one that could be used with wands that doesn't break other things. I would certainly like to see that. These skills are always awesome.
They honestly do need to release more skills for both of those, just like another blow type mechanic that works for everything. I love those. And I think a problem with wands too is We have a Beanos, we have our Hedgies era, we got our Piscators. We need a physical wand that's, that unique end game wand. So that way it entices more people to play physical wand builds.
Yeah, it's just so.
There's the elemental one that was added recently, isn't it?
Piscators, yeah, it's Piscators.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
We need that, solid end game unique that's not like the best, but damn good, where you can have fun playing the spec still end game and not feel like you're spending a million exalts for that perfectly rolled wand.
A one AoE skill could be cool instead of like a projectile sort of thing.
That's what I was thinking, but it might take away from the purpose of it being a projectile because it's from a wand. I don't know. But I was thinking, because like the only option you have when you use a wand is like chain or chain, and sometimes you use LMP with chain. So it's like, yeah. Maybe seeing how it would work.
It could be
Give
interesting
one's
to
tornado
add a
shot.
one AoE skill.
I mean, if you think about Power Siphon, it was solid before the introduction of all these new wand nodes. Now it's like really good. It's just rolling that wand or getting people to understand how they work. Because wands it's a weird mechanic. It really is. Because most of it is like that hatred type mechanic where you're getting extra damage as lightning, fire, cold. There's all those weird mechanics in there that most people don't understand. They think it's conversion and things like that. I don't know. It's very specific, and where it's located, it's like going CI. A lot of people don't like to go CI, even though I feel that's the best way to play Physical Wander. You can still do it as life, it's just really good as CI.
Next question comes in from Pox Fanboy. Ooh.
What?
How do you think they will implement Beyond Mobs into the new league? I'm going to direct this one at Pox since he's your fanboy.
Gee.
I think that... I actually think that they might not implement it. They did say that they didn't get to work on this league as much as they'd like to the previous ones, and I think that if it's not like a completed product for them, that they don't want to release it into the game. If they did want to release it, I would say maybe a map mod could be something apparent to it. That way, it's going back to what the chat said and what everyone else has been agreeing with is you want optional things that you're not forced upon. You want to be able to have the option of, okay, I can re-roll this, or okay, I can run this, not it's now in my face every single time. So I would say that would probably be the best way to introduce it.
I think I give a 100% chance that it will at the very least, become a Zana mod. And then maybe also maps and races. I don't see it making its way into the core game, at least I really don't. I hope it doesn't make its way into the core game. Because again, it's the same problem with the invasion mechanic, the guest mobs. That most people don't like. The guest mobs are an okay idea, but most people don't like them because they remove the theme of the zones, and I think Beyond would have that impact on the core game as well. I wouldn't want to see that in the core game.
We're not very hospitable about guest mobs, that's for sure.
No, I don't. Does anyone really like? I think some people like them. I think ZiggyD likes them.
I still want to see invasion bosses can spawn from lockboxes. Oh my, that would make my day.
I want it. I want
A
have it
box.
Have it a mod, man. It'll be great. I miss invasion bosses, really.
Yeah, it's like I did a Zana map mod the other day, and like when you're going through I forgot what it is in Act 2 caverns, you're like that's syntax. I'm not going down that corrupted zone. You're like no way. Well, I did a Zana map mod the other day. I bought it from her. I was like, oh, it contains a random invasion boss. Should be fun. Syntax. I was like, oh, I ended up killing him, but still, like that feel. If that's what comes out of the lockbox. Oh man, the QQs will be real. That spider.
Awesome.
Next question from the gamers. Can just go straight to the next one. Chris mentioned there was going to be a new skill tree in a Reddit post. Does this possibly mean a free respec? I can take this one. Even if they don't change the skill tree, I'm pretty sure they said that they're going to do a free respec every 3 months now, at the start of every new league. Is that right? I swear I remember hearing that.
Yeah, whenever they change the tree, they usually give you a free respec. Like in Nemesis, they changed the movement speed wheel that was awkward near the Scion. They changed it up or something, and everyone got a respec if they had a point in there. And things like that. Whenever you have a point invested and they change the tree somehow, everyone will get a free respec. Or whenever a league ends, the new one starts, you get a free respec.
I think they're being more liberal with the full free respecs for everyone now. In the past, when they did the very first one, if your build still had points that tied together, and even if the passive got moved, but you were still attached to it somehow, they wouldn't have given you a respec. They only gave respec to specific people that were affected by changes. But now I'm pretty sure they're going to be as liberal as they very liberal with it, I guess. If there's any sort of slight change, they'll do it. Just even as an excuse to give a free respec. I think it's the free respec, probably from a business point of view, gets people back in and playing standard and hardcore leagues. And I don't think there's any real detriment to it so much.
It's every 3 months or 4 months. I think it's cool.
That's
It brings in to the whole thing of, I'm hyped again. I'm ready to come back. I'm gonna play something new. So I'm ready to test something for the new league. So
that's what I did.
So that kind of ties into another question here. Where did it go? Here we go. From Wraeclastian, with the introduction of the new 3-month league changes, do you think there'll be even less incentive to play permanent leagues? Do you think they'll do anything to breathe life into the permanent leagues? What do you guys reckon?
Something to fix my stash tabs with all those freaking remove onlys. That's
Auto sort? Auto sort would get you playing hardcore and standard?
That and, well, this is kind of a sidetrack. I still want a reclaim all MTX button. Like, please, just give me it.
It'd be amazing. Oh my god, I spent like 15 minutes.
I don't think quality of life are going to get people back into hardcore and standard.
No, hardcore and standard,
they're nice.
They're there if you really enjoy your character and you're like, you know what, I might have died on hardcore, but I'm a noob crap and I'm going to keep playing my Cold Snapper. I mean, for anybody else who still wants to keep playing their build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both a showcase league, so it's just, their point is for a lot of people just to be a trophy room or just to be a place you can go back and like, oh yeah, I remember this build that I played like 9 months ago. Here it is. Let's have a little bit of a romp on it. It'll be fun. And then for the enthusiasts, for people that really want to work on a very long-term project, there is a streamer named Anuhart, I think it is, who has been playing Self-Found in Standard League since the game launched. He was what I would categorize as like an enthusiast for the Legacy Leagues. So the leagues are there for those people that want to play, like have a really long project they want to keep working on and don't want to have to change over all the time.
The 120-month league?
120-month league, yes. It's been doing his self-found 120-month.
And craft memorable items and such. And I honestly don't think GGG is going to touch the permanent leagues at all, in any shape or form.
I mean, I think they do because the stuff comes from the challenge leagues and goes into them.
Yes. But like, they're not going to like try and breathe new life into them or anything beyond what already gets breathed into it. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people now, the core game is the challenge leagues. And I think that's the model that GGG is going with.
Yeah. Just like it was in Diablo 2. So shall it be.
Mm-hmm. I do like the latter approach. I would like to see more rewards for those people who know Life 100. You know, like, I think it's really cool. You know, like, keeping that hardcore element, like, I'm going to hit 100 first. I'm going to take this much time off from work, or this is going to be my work. And just trying to hit level 100 first. And then you hit it, and it's like, yay, okay, good job. Like, I would love to see them get something cool. And you know, they did something for the first 50 in series when it was like, you got this cool MTX, but anybody can kill it for you, and it wasn't really rewarding, and people were buying it. Where if you actually earn level 100 first, like that's your accomplishment. And here's something for that. I would love to see that. Or
so I think
chat. Yeah, he did it.
I think we have time for one more question, though this last question might not be a very good one to fit in the last couple of minutes. But from Not Greed Enough, we have, at everyone, does armor in its current state deserve a rework or buff?
Oh.
I think you want to take the lead on this one.
Hey, there's a horse down here. You want to beat it with me? It's dead.
Let's all beat the dead horse. No, yeah, I think, as Zeno has implied, we've talked about armor quite a bit, and its role in the game has become smaller and smaller over time as other mechanics have become more consistent and more reliable at dealing with physical damage. And armor was like, I remember when armor was everything. Like, everyone, like, iron reflexes are still really popular in short leagues, but everyone would go iron reflexes. There was no other really viable way to defend your characters. But yeah, over time we've gotten more automated mechanics and more manual mechanics that allow us to keep our characters alive. So I do feel like armor needs to come back in the spotlight a little bit. It's an interesting mechanic. We talked in the past podcasts quite a bit about it, about like core mechanics change to the way armor functions, and maybe that's what needs to happen.
I would love that.
That's what I would agree with. I don't get a buff because adding like an additional way of mitigation if it's easy to defend your character. It's just going to make even more imbalanced builds. But I do believe it should get a rework in some type of way, or maybe have some new mechanic style towards it, just so players have other ways of incorporating it into their builds. But just directly buffing it would directly buff Granite Flasks, which would directly buff Rumi's Concoction, which is already insane.
Outrageous.
Yep, there you go. Would directly buff so many things. So I think that it should get a rework rather than a buff.
Yeah, rework for sure.
I like armor, Arctic armor, because Arctic armor works. Right? It works all the time, consistently. I know exactly how much damage Arctic armor is going to mitigate, and I can rely on it. I know where it's strong and I know where it's weak. And armor, I feel like armor is like a broken mechanic. There's a reason why the vast majority of min-max builds don't value armor at all. I think ZiggyD needs to take a long, hard look at armor and need to come up with something new. Because right now, I don't feel like armor is while it has its uses, I mean, we all use granites, right? I don't think it's particularly useful right now. It definitely needs some love in some way.
The way they implemented it, the idea that if you're wearing plate mail and you get stabbed with a dagger, you don't get hurt, but if a wrecking ball comes and hits you, you still get hurt. That's kind of like the design at the moment. It's a really cool idea, and it makes a lot of sense, but not in terms of a game perspective, I don't think, anymore. And, yeah. It's funny, armor, in a game perspective, I feel like armor is the reliable thing. Evasion is the thing that feels like a little bit of a gamble, but honestly, evasion feels more reliable than armor these days.
I think it's a problem when it comes down to what actually kills you in Path of Exile, and what actually kills you is the Wrecking Ball, right? Like I don't care how well I mitigate the damage of monkeys. Like, monkeys are never going to kill me. What's going to kill me is, Brutus, right? So, like, I'm building my whole character around not dying to Brutus, and this is the problem with armor, and that when the going gets tough, when you're getting that massive damage spike, it's not helping you enough, right? And that's what it needs. So, like, while I do like the idea of armor, like, the idea, in practice, it's just not practically useful, because...
Or when you know you're going to take those multiple hits, you're like, I'll just pop my granite.
Yeah.
I got
I'll drink health flasks. I'll use Arctic armor.
Arctic armor's so good.
Yeah, that's really overpowered, actually, but...
That's
around for another day.
I think this concludes the entire podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This was actually a really good episode. I had a lot of fun with it. So, thank you, AngryAA, for showing up. I'm glad you made it, bro.
You're the man.
I had far too much fun this episode. Far too much fun.
Honestly,
a little hyperactive, but
I didn't hear one hater in chat, and usually there's always that guy. So, you did it, man. The dream.
Everyone's all aboard the angry train.
Oh, I think we just got a $5 club right here. Brofist.
Well, it was fantastic to be on the podcast, guys. I really thank it. And I stream every day, so you can come check me out if you want to.
Go check him out, guys. I've watched his stream. He tells awesome stories on his stream. You should watch it.
This is a guy you need to freaking follow right now. Go on Twitch, follow him. He's right there in chat. He just posted it. Hit that follow button.
Awesome.
So, thanks, GGG, again, for watching this, listening, and giving us such a good quality game. And understand that when we gripe, it's just a gripe. We love what you do. A lot of people like to give you the positive. Once in a while, we need to give you the black eye.
It's because we care.
Yes.
Because we care. Exactly.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for allowing this to happen. And thanks again, Twitch, for allowing cool-ass things like this to happen on your website. Yeah, Twitch. And all my viewers, and Ziggy's viewers, Angry's and Ponks that keep coming by to support this. We really appreciate this. And just to hype up the next podcast, we have Chris Wilson coming on. That'll be November 30th. If you're in the Australian continent, or you're a Kiwi, because you guys get offended when I say Australian continent, he will be on December 1st. So, except, there's going to be a lot of hype going on with that. He said he's going to try to cam. No guarantees there. We'll see what's up. But Chris Wilson will be for the next episode. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Stay tuned for the MTX giveaway.
See you guys. It was awesome.
Cheerio.